Step outside, or simply imagine it a sky stretched wide and endless above you, filled with stars that shimmer like whispers of eternity. Each light is a quiet reminder of how vast God's creation is, and yet how personally He knows you. The night air feels cool, gentle against your skin, wrapping you in peace. You take a slow breath, letting the rhythm of the earth calm your soul. Above you, the stars don't rush. They don't compete. They simply shine, faithful and still, just as God's love quietly fills the spaces of your life. You remember the promise written in the Psalms. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of His hands. Tonight, those words come alive. Every star is a verse of His faithfulness. Every constellation a story of His care. You realize the same God who placed each star in the heavens has placed purpose in your heart. The same hand that holds galaxies together holds your life gently, securely, completely, in the stillness. You begin to speak with Him, not with long words, but with the quiet honesty of the heart. Lord, thank you. You whisper, thank you for this breath, this peace, this reminder that I am small, but I am never forgotten. You feel His presence like the soft glow of starlight, steady and kind. Let your worries drift away into the night sky. Let your thoughts become light as the stars. Rest in the truth that the God who keeps the universe in perfect balance is keeping watch over you now. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't forget. His peace shines constant, like the stars that have guided travelers for thousands of years. Stay here a little longer, look up, or simply close your eyes and see the light in your spirit. Feel His nearness, His quiet companionship. You are under His sky, within His care, surrounded by His love. Let your heart rest, knowing that tonight and every night you are held by the Maker of the stars. I welcome you this evening. I invite you to open your heart and soften your hands. I sit with a small lamp by my side. Its light is gentle. It does not rush. It does not judge. It simply warms the room and lets the shadows fall away. I ask you to find a place that feels like home. A chair with a blanket. A bed with cool sheets. A window that holds the last of the day. Make a small space for quiet. Set aside the worries that clamor at the edges. Lay them down like coats by the door. Let them rest there for now. I will read to you. My voice moves slowly. Each word is like a step on a familiar path. The path leads toward a quiet hearth. The path leads to a presence that holds you without asking for explanation. In this hour, the word becomes a lamp, and I let it shine so your feet know where to stand. Breathe with me. Inhale gently. Feel the air travel in. Exhale slowly. Let each breath release a little more of the day's tightness. Shoulders drop. Jaw unclenches. Hands unfold. The body grows willing to rest. I place a hand on the book that is at my elbow. It is not heavy. Its pages are familiar. They have been read in countless nights like this. They have a steady rhythm. They offer a promise. that does not depend on how I feel. That promise waits in calm language and in simple scenes that remind me of care. I do not come to teach. I do not come to argue. I come to share what soothes my own tired heart when the night presses in. I read so you can remember what mercy feels like. I read so hope has room to breathe. Listen, as if the words are a warm blanket being wrapped around your shoulders. Imagine the sentences as gentle hands smoothing out the creases in a weary mind. Picture a small lamp on a table. Imagine steam rising from a cup of something kind. Let those images settle. I speak plainly. I favor brief sentences. The present moment matters. So I say, what is near to hand. I tell of still waters. I speak of quiet fields and a shepherd who knows the sound of each footstep. I remind you that you are not carried by strength alone. You are carried by a steady, patient love. I invite a posture of surrender, not defeat. Surrender means allowing the night to do what nights do. It heals. It completes. It gathers loose edges. Surrender does not mean giving up on tomorrow. It means trusting that rest prepares you for what is next. I keep my voice low. It moves in a rhythm that matches the slowing heart. Each sentence ends with space. Each thought has room to be held. I will pause often. You may close your eyes if you wish. You may keep them open. Stay where the tension eases. I speak to the lonely. I speak to the anxious. I speak to the one whose hands are empty this evening. I speak to all who carry heavy names. The word that I read does not arrive as a lecture. It arrives as a presence that leans in, as a friend who remembers your name by the way your breath catches. I remind you of small images that comfort, a lamp that never goes out, a table where there is always room, bread broken and shared, a harbor where boats come to rest. These images are not distant. They are near. They are domestic. They are simple. They are meant to settle the spirit. I invite a practice as the reading begins. Notice the body first. Feel the contact of the floor or mattress. Notice where the weight falls. Allow it to be held. Let the hands rest in a place that feels light. If the eyes close, let them find a darkness that is safe. If the eyes stay open, let them focus on a single, small point like the flame of the lamp. I keep the theology gentle. There is mercy for what happened earlier today. There is hope for the unknown that waits tomorrow. There is a steady kindness that does not depend on performance. That kindness comes in the words I read. It presses no claim on how you should feel. It simply offers presence. I will read a little at a time. Each section is short. Each thought folds into the next, like the pages of a quietly read book. There is no rush. The aim is calm. The aim is rest. The aim is to let the words sit beside you like a warm friend. I do not expect you to fix every worry. I do not ask you to solve the puzzles of the mind before sleep. Place them on a small dish by the bed. Let them be seen, and then set down. Promise to look at them tomorrow with fresh eyes. For now, allow mercy to enter the room. I read as if telling a steady story. The sentences sketch scenes that shelter the spirit. They remind the heart of small truths. You are seen. You are known. You are not alone. When thoughts return, let them be met by a gentle phrase from the text. Let that phrase be like a soft hand, guiding a fidgeting child to a quiet corner. I ask you to listen without measuring the time. The hour will expand and contract as it needs to. Some nights the voice falls into long pauses. Other nights the breath catches at a certain line. Both ways are welcome. Both ways are part of the rest. I also ask for patience. The mind will wander. That is natural. Each time it does, return gently to the reading. Do not scold the wandering mind. Treat it as you would a tired friend who needs direction. Lead it back with kindness. I offer reassurance. The word I read carries words like balm. These are not quick fixes. They are steady oils. They seep slowly. They ease the tight places. They do not erase pain at once. They teach the heart to lean into compassion and to trust that even small relief is progress. I use images from the everyday: a warm coat on a frosty evening, a lamp in a quiet room, a river that moves in patient channels. These images do not compete with the complexity of life. They meet it in the small gestures of care that belong to ordinary days. I promise a gentle tone. The voice will not demand more than you can give. The reading will not require mental gymnastics. It will arrive plain and kind. If sleep comes midway through a sentence, that is welcome. Sleep is not an interruption. It is the best kind of listening. I will end each section with a quiet pause. The pause is a space for the words to settle. The pause is a moment for the heart to align with what has been heard. During the pause, breathe deeply. Let the silence be a companion. I am mindful of time. This evening belongs to rest. In the hours ahead, the pace will remain slow. The readings will be measured to encourage release. There will be gentle repetitions, not to tire, but to anchor. Repetition is like returning to the same warm room after a long day out in the cold. I invite a small ritual before we begin. Lay a hand where it feels light. Take 3 measured breaths. With the first, imagine inhaling a soft light. With the second, imagine that light settling into the chest. With the third, let any tightness melt as you exhale. This ritual is simple, and it prepares the heart to receive. I also invite you to give permission to the night, permission to close one chapter of the day, permission to let the mind rest, permission to allow hope to grow quietly, permission to trust that the word will do its work slowly and kindly. I will read now. I will begin with words that invite warmth and presence. I keep my pace slow. I keep my tone kind. I leave space for each phrase to breathe. If you fall asleep, the reading holds you. If you stay awake, the reading holds you. All are welcome. Now, settle deeper. Let the lamp keep watch. Let the blanket hold you. Let the breath find its calm. I open the book and press my thumb to the page where the night's readings begin. I lean close and let the first words rise like a quiet flame. I turn the page slowly. My fingers find the margin and rest there. The lamp throws a small circle of light. The room beyond it grows softer. The book feels warm from many evenings like this. I begin to read. The first lines move like water. They speak of a shepherd and of green places. They speak of rest. I let each phrase fall without hurry. My voice is low. It does not race to explain. It simply offers images that settle the mind. I ask you to picture the places as they come. See a field that is quiet at noon. Hear a small stream that keeps the same gentle sound. Smell the grass after light rain. Hold the picture for a moment. Let the senses anchor the words. I read of evenings that close without noise. I read of hands that prepare a table. The words touch simple acts. Bread, a cup, the sharing of a shelter. I do not rush through these scenes. I allow them space to breathe, space to rest inside the chest. Sometimes the reading moves to a valley. The tone shifts, but it remains calm. There is mention of shadow. There is mention of a steady presence walking beside. The presence does not force the light. It simply holds a lantern and keeps step. Imagine that lantern close enough to feel its heat. Imagine the steady rhythm of footsteps on an untrod path. When lines speak of fear, I let me voice soften further. Fear is named, not chased away. Naming does not make it larger. It makes it known, and thus smaller. A recognition like this helps the muscles unclench. The shoulders drop a little. The jaw loosens. The night becomes a companion, not a threat. I pause between passages. Silence arrives as part of the reading. It is not empty. It is full of listening. You may breathe into that silence. You may notice how your breath shapes the pause. Let each inhale gather, and each exhale release. In the hush, small relief begins. The words I read often return to mercy. Mercy appears as a quiet morning that forgives a heavy night. Mercy looks like hands that wipe a table clean. Mercy is steady, not dramatic. It comes slowly and repeats itself. Repeat is a kind teacher when the mind is tired. I guide the pace with care. Sentences stay short. Each image is given a moment. Winter light, a small fire, a child tucked in a blanket. These plain pictures are meant to ground the spirit in what is near and small. When grand ideas arrive in the text, I let them sit alongside a bowl of warm soup. Big things can be companioned by small comforts. At times, the reading reaches toward hope. Hope is described like seeds under the soil. It waits quietly until rain and time do their work. Hope does not demand immediate proof. It asks only for patience and a steady presence. Hold that thought like a seed in the palm. It feels small, but alive. I read of promises. Promises are not sharp claims. They are soft assurances. They say, in effect, you are noticed. Your name is not lost among the many. A presence remembers the pattern of your breathing. It knows when you falter and when you rise. This knowing brings a kind of rest that is practical. It settles the mind enough to sleep. My voice sometimes lingers on images of shelter, a roof that keeps rain out, a hearth that invites tired feet, a doorway kept open for the late traveler. Think of a room where someone has already lit a lamp for you. Nothing else is required. Entering this room is simply permitted. No checklist, no condition. Only welcome. The reading moves slowly into thoughts of forgiveness. But not as theory. Forgiveness in these lines is an action. It is like iron tools laid down and left by a river bank. The hands that once gripped them now rest. The weight is shared. The body can relax. Imagine the relief of setting down a burden you have carried too long. Breathe into that letting go. When the text speaks of guidance, it uses everyday steering, a hand on a shoulder, a map folded on a table, a small light along a path. Guidance does not promise a straight road free of bends. It offers steady help through each curve. The promise is not that trouble will vanish, but that the traveler will not walk alone. I invite you to let your thoughts wander gently to small kindnesses you have known. A neighbor who brought soup, a friend who listened, a stranger who held a door. These small acts of care echo the larger kindness described in the readings. Let them return like soft footsteps in a quiet hall. If grief comes while I read, let it be welcomed. The text does not pretend sorrow away. It holds sorrow as part of the night. It tells of tears being collected and of seasons passing. Tears are not a sign of failure. They are a language the heart uses to name loss. The reading treats them with tenderness. There are lines that speak of rest as a kind of return, returning to a place of safety, returning to a first breath, returning to home. This return is gentle and does not require a map. It uses signposts like love and familiar routines. Picture a road lined with lights that lead back to a small house. The home waits without question. I slow my pace even more as the hour deepens. Each sentence becomes a soft step. The lamp's flame may tremble. The breath in the room becomes softer. Let the body settle into its most honest posture. Let the limbs find the contact that tells them they are supported. At intervals, I close the book for a long, quiet moment. The silence that follows is an invitation. If eyes are open, let them rest on the lamp's glow. If eyes are closed, let the inner images keep their gentle motion. The room breathes with you. The pages lie still. The presence in the words remains. Tonight's passages end with simple commands: be still. Remember. Rest. They are not demands. They are invitations. Each one asks only for a breath and a willingness to wait. I repeat these invitations slowly, as if humming a tune to a child who needs soothing. Each repetition is soft and consoling. Before I reach the final lines for this section, I put down the book and fold my hands loosely. The voice softens to a murmur. In this space, the words settle like feathers on a pillow. The lamp makes a small pool of brightness. The rest of the room draws nearer to sleep. I remind you, gently, to offer mercy to yourself. Mercy is not a fleeting idea. It is a way to treat your own small mistakes tonight. Speak to yourself with the same gentleness that the text showed. Let the tiredness receive forgiveness. 2. Let the mind rest from its judgments. As the last paragraph falls into the room, I promis a deliberate pause. The pause is longer than the others. It is meant to let the night's readings sink in. Breathe deeply. Feel the chest rise and fall. Notice how a tiny, loosened thought can become a place of comfort. Hold that little place. I close the book with care. The cover makes a soft sound. The lamp keeps its steady watch. I sit for a moment in the near dark. The body feels heavier, in a good way. The mind follows its warmth. The room becomes a cradle for sleep. Tonight's reading will continue in the next section. For now, let the images keep company. Let the remembered phrases be small lights that guide the breath. If sleep comes, accept it without apology. If waking stays, let the peace remain like a gentle friend at the bedside. I stand and move the lamp, so the glow is comfortable, not bright. I whisper no words that need answering. The quiet itself is enough. I leave a small promise. Tomorrow's pages will come when the hour returns. Until then, rest. Let the mercies of this night keep you. I lift the book again. My thumb finds the worn page. The lamp warms the paper. The room listens. I invite you to lean in, as if the night itself were a quiet room that remembers your name. I begin with an invitation. Embrace the presence of God. Say that phrase softly in your mind. Let it rest there. Imagine a presence that is not sudden or loud. It arrives like a steady heat from a hearth. It is near without pressing. It is kind without demanding. A line from the Psalms comes to mind. It reminds me that God is a refuge and strength, that the help we need is never far. I do not recite it for proof. I speak it as a comfort. Let the idea sink into the bones. Feel the ease that comes when help is known to be near. Close your eyes, if that helps. Picture a small shelter at dusk. The door is open. A lamp burns low inside. Steam rises from a cup placed on the table. The world outside makes less noise here. The shelter keeps wind and rain at bay. The presence I speak of is like that shelter. It keeps the heart safe enough to breathe. Breathe with me. Inhale in 4 slow counts. Hold for 1. Exhale in 6. Let each exhale be a little softer than the one before. With each breath, imagine the shelter drawing closer. With each breath, the lamp inside grows a fraction brighter. The body gradually uncurls. Imagine a hand, not intrusive, only warm. It rests near the shoulder. It does not demand action. It simply reassures. Presence can feel like that. Sometimes it comes as a memory of a voice that once spoke comfort. Sometimes it comes through the quiet insistence of a steady rhythm. Tonight, allow that steady rhythm to be your guide. I read along in the book. The words trace simple truths. God is close. God holds confusion tenderly. God stands near when fear presses in. The language is plain. It does not complicate. It returns to what matters now. Rest. Safety. Presents. When the text mentions strength, understand it as gentle strength, not force. Not a rush of power that startled. Think of strength as a deep-rooted tree. Its branches provide shade. Its roots steady the soil. The tree stands through many seasons. In the same way, presence steadies the heart. It does not erase storms. It bears them with you. If anxiety rises, notice without joining it. Name it quietly. Say, in your mind. This is anxiety. Do not follow it down every road. Let it be like a cloud passing a lamp. The cloud may dim the light. The lamp is still there. The presence is still there. Your breath finds the steady rhythm again. Picture a gentle harbor. Boats come in from different winds. Each boat is small and world-worn. Each boat finds a place to tie up. The harbor does not ask how long the voyage took. It accepts the arrival. Presence is this harbor. It receives without tallying sins or successes. It simply welcomes. I slow my reading. Each sentence becomes a soft step. The lamp throws a circle of light and leaves the rest to shadow. Shade here is not absence. It is pause, a place where the eyes relax. Let your attention rest in that circle. Feel the support beneath you. Notice how the spine aligns when the shoulders drop. Sometimes the text speaks of shelter in the form of rest. Rest is not always sleep. It can be a brief letting go. It can be a release of the need to fix everything tonight. Lay down the stick you hold so tightly. Imagine setting it by the door. Feel the hands lighten. Let the fingers loosen. This small action teaches the body a new posture. The reading moves to mercy. Mercy looks modest in these lines. It is a hand that dries tears. It is a bowl of broth at twilight. It is a word said softly to someone who has failed. Mercy returns regularly. It is not earned all at once. It arrives in small gestures. Allow these small gestures to land on you as if they were feathers. I take a breath between lines and let the silence fold in. Silence, here, acts like a soft blanket. It does not smother. It comforts. Use the silence to imagine a memory of kindness. A neighbor bringing bread. A friend staying on the phone. A stranger offering a seat. Let those memories stitch together like a patchwork quilt. When the scripture describes guidance, it uses simple images. A lamp along a path. A hand on the shoulder. A map placed on a table. Guidance does not erase uncertainty. It provides points to steer by. Think of a night with stars clear and steady. They do not urge you forward. They simply mark the way. Follow them step by easy step. If sorrow comes tonight, accept it gently. The book speaks to sorrow as if it is a companion. It sits at the table. It has its own needs. It asks not to be hurried. Give it a small space. Bring it a cup of warmth. Acknowledge the ache without letting it take the whole room. Tears happen. Tears are part of the night's honest language. I remind you that remembering is different from fixing. To remember mercy is to let it reappear in the small actions of tomorrow. To remember presence is to return to breath when the mind wanders. The act of remembering trains the heart to recognize help when it arrives. There is a soft insistence in the lines that clocks do not have the final word. Time chases many things, but mercy and presence have their own timing. They do not hurry. They do not rush. They work quietly, like a gardener tending a bed. Seeds do not sprout instantly. They respond to light and patient care. Trust small growth. I pause and close the book for a moment. The silence that follows is warm. Imagine the lamp's glow on your eyelids. Imagine that glow being a reminder you are held. You do not carry this night alone. The room seems fuller with that simple truth. Return your attention to your breath. Inhale 4 counts, exhale 6. Each breath is a small measure of grace. Each exhale is a little surrender. If the mind offers reasons to worry, tell it gently that this is a time for rest. You will return to those concerns with fresh eyes. For now, let mercy do its slow work. The reading continues with images of shelter as hospitality, a place prepared, a seat turned towards the door, a light kept burning for those who come late. Hospitality in these lines is not elaborate. It is simple and intentional. Imagine a chair pulled out for you. Imagine a towel hung to dry. Imagine a towel already warmed by the fire. Accept the small kindnesses. I speak slowly about trust. Trust here is not a grand leap. It is a series of small steps taken in the dark. When a hand guides you, it is as simple as following a faint track back to a house you have known before. If trust feels distant, let it begin small. Trust one small breath. Trust one soft thought. Build quietly. As the hour deepens, I return the voice lower. The lines touch on surrender in a nourishing way. Surrender is not defeat. It is a placing of tired things in capable hands. Imagine handing over a bundle to someone whose arms are broad and gentle. Feel the lightening. Notice the small movement of relief in the chest. Before I close this section, I name hope with a small image. Hope is like embers kept carefully. These embers may seem dim. They warm if fed with gentle attention. A cup of water, a soft word, a rest, these tend the embers. Hope need not combust into spectacle. It needs care to glow. I fold my hands and set the book down. The lamp casts its warm circle. The room breathes as you do. A final thought rests on the edge of the night. Presence is patient. Presence waits at the border of sleep and wake. It is ready to meet dreams and quiet hours alike. Stay with the breath a moment longer. Let the steady rhythm be your companion. If sleep arrives, accept it without apology. If waking remains, let this presence sit quietly beside you. I promise to return with more pages when the hour comes again. Until then, rest in the shelter of what you have heard. Let the assurance of being near settle into the bones. Let mercy keep watch. I lift the book and settle the lamp, so its light falls where the page opens. The room is quiet. The small circle of light feels like a harbor. I speak slowly, as if walking a plank into calm water. Tonight, I bring a truth that steadies me when the night feels restless. I say it softly. Nothing can pull you away from the steady love that holds you. I do not say this as argument. I offer it as a sheltering fact to hold in the palm when the fingers tremble. Picture a long rope. It goes from your chest to something larger than you. The rope is not thin. It is braided from patient acts, from kindnesses, from the steady promise that does not change with the weather. The rope reaches across miles and mistakes, across dull mornings and loud storms. It does not fray at the edges. It does not snap under surprise. Name quiet things that tend to make the heart small. Loss, regret, loneliness, fear of the dark. fear of tomorrow. Each of these comes like a wind. They push at the door and make the lamp flicker. Now imagine that same rope tied to a root deep under the house. The wind can push all it likes. The house tilts and settles, but it does not drift away. The root holds. I ask you to breathe slow. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 1. Exhale 6. With each breath, let the idea of tethering grow a little truer. Feel the rope as a warmth along the spine. Let that warmth be a simple proof against the tall thoughts that say you are alone. There are days when guilt walks in like a heavy coat. Guilt settles over the shoulders and drags steps slow. I do not pretend guilt will vanish in a single breath. I do promise that guilt does not undo love. Love meets the guilt like a soft hand that unbuttons the coat. It does not make the memory disappear. It makes standing feel possible again. Think of distance next. A voice on a phone. A train pulling away. The calendar page is moving fast. Distance can be loud. It can feel like an absence that stretches into the night. Yet love is not a thing bound by miles. It moves like light. It bends around corners. It warms a room far from its source. The rope I spoke of is also a line of light that crosses distance without losing heat. When fear feels like a sea, imagine the sea above a deep root. The waves are high and blue and full of noise. The root below sits in a quiet bed. It does not know the mood of every wave. It knows its own depth. Love is the root. The sea may roar and fling itself at the shore, but the root keeps the tree standing. Sometimes the heart worries that silence equals absence. Silence in a room can sound like a question. I suggest a different hearing. Treat silence as space where presence can sit down. Presence does not need to fill every empty hour with words. Presence waits in a chair and breathes. The same rhythm as yours. It is patient. It keeps watch. The rope and the root and the lamp all lean into silence and make it a place to rest. If shame arrives, it often wants to crowd the whole house. Shame is a small creature that holds a megaphone. The house does not have to listen to every shout. Invite shame to sit on a stool by the door. Give it a single cup of attention, then close the door gently on the rest. The love that holds you does not abandon the house because of one loud guest. I read lines in the book that remind me how broad this love reaches. The lines name many things that could try to separate. They come in pairs, to help the mind picture the opposition great and small, seen and unseen, happy and dreadful. The message I hold for you is plain. Those oppositions do not have the final word on where love ends. Love moves beyond those borders, quietly and without fanfare. Do a small exercise with me. Imagine a list. On the list, put the things that are pressing tonight. A phone call, a scar, an unpaid worry, a mischance. Picture placing that list on a little boat. Watch the boat drift to a slow river. Do not push it hard. Do not watch it for a long time. Simply see it move away, kept company by the steady current of care. The current is the kind of love that does not tally faults before it carries. Breathe as the list floats. Let the current do its quiet work. There are nights when anger bangs its fist on the door. Anger asks for an audience. It wants to be heard until it is exhausted. Invite it in for a minute. Offer it a place to rest. Then, as if by habit, hand it over to the rope and the root. Let the larger love take what is too heavy for the hands to hold tonight. I remind you now of small, plain things that make the assurance feel near. A hand that presses a palm against another. A neighbor bringing in a package. A quiet apology that changes the pattern of a room. Small things tend the root bed. They are the soft compost that keeps the soil good. Love grows in these ordinary ways, not merely in sweeping gestures. When doubt mocks the promise, speak very slowly to doubt. Tell it that nothing, not time nor night, not changing moods or fierce storms can find the end of the rope. Doubt will listen. Doubt does not have the last say any more than the wind has the last say over the tree. I keep my voice low. The sentences are short. The aim is not to explain everything about love. The aim is to give you a steady place to rest when the mind races. I am reading the lines that comfort me most. They do not come as laws. They come as invitations to lean, to trust, to sleep with the weight shared. If grief opens up like a door you did not expect, let it be known and tended. Grief is honest work. It takes time. It takes hands. The love that holds you is not impatient with grief. It makes room on the bench and brings steady tea. It will not rush the steps. It will not measure how long the tears take. It simply keeps the ember burning at the edge. Imagine a long hallway. Doors open on both sides. Some doors are bright. Some are shut. The rope runs down the center, lit like a foot lamp. Walk slowly along it. With each step, the lamp near your feet proves true. The hallway may curve. There may be unexpected turns. The light keeps guiding. It does not run ahead. It keeps pace with quiet feet. I pause and let a longer silence sit. Use the silence. Let it be a place where the rope feels weightless for a moment. Notice how the body responds when a line of trust rests on the ribs. Shoulders soften. The jaw follows. The breath deepens. A mild reminder love does not always look the way we imagine. It sometimes arrives as a small conversation in the kitchen. It sometimes wraps itself in forgiveness that feels like warm water. It sometimes stays simply by keeping time with the breath. These are not lesser forms. They are the ordinary forms that make a long life of care possible. As I fold the pages, I ask you to place a small habit in your pocket. Before sleep, name one thing that worries you. Breathe with it. Then, in a quiet sentence, place it into the steady rope. Say only that you are handing it over for tonight. You will take it up again with new light. For now, let the rope do its gentle holding. The night deepens. The lamp keeps a modest glow. The book rests in my lap. The assurance I read tonight is not a magic charm. It is a steady, patient truth that nothing, no fear, no distance, no shame, no shadow has the power to separate you from the love that holds you. Say that phrase softly in the mind. Let it layer over the louder thoughts. I close the book very slowly. The cover makes a small sound. The room inhales and settles. If sleep comes, go with it without apology. If wakefulness remains, let the rope of love make a small circle around the heart and keep watch. I will return with more pages when the hour comes again. For now, rest. Let this assurance lie heavy and kind across the chest like a warm cloth. I open the book to a new place. The page is cool under my thumb. Tonight, the words lead me to a simple practice. Forgiveness is named as a path to peace. The instruction is plain. Begin. Be compassionater. Forgive, as you have been forgiven. I do not unpack doctrine. I show how these words feel like warmth for a tired heart. Imagine carrying a sack of small stones. Each one has a name, a hurt, an old insult, a memory that pricks. The sack grows heavy by evening. The hips ache. The breath shortens. Forgiveness, in the reading tonight, is not a demand to forget. It is the act of setting the sack down. It is the choice to place one stone on the shore and let the river take the rest. Breathe with me. Inhale slowly to 4. Hold for 1. Exhale to 6. Picture the sack at your feet. See its weight loosen with each exhale. With a quiet motion, imagine slipping one stone from the mouth of the bag. Let it fall into the water. Watch the ripples. Notice how the shoulders ease a fraction. Forgiveness is gentle work. It looks like untying a knot you have held too long. It feels like loosening fingers that squeeze at a memory. It does not mean that harm did not happen. It means doing something kind for the body and the heart. The nights are not meant for carrying heavy loads. The night is a time to set things down. When I read these lines, a simple image helps. Picture a washboard by a stream. You bring a shirt stained by the day. You lay it in the water. The current does steady work. You rub softly. The water takes away some dirt. The shirt does not disappear. It becomes lighter. Forgiveness cleans in the same small, practical way. It does not erase history. It relieves weight. There are practical ways to practice this tonight. Take a piece of paper. Write the name of the person with whom a burden sits. Fold the paper gently. Say nothing aloud. Walk to a small bowl of water. Place the folded paper into the bowl. Watch the paper soften as it loosens. Imagine the grip on your chest loosening too. If tears come, let them move. They are part of the unburdening. Some thoughts will object. They will say letting go rewards wrong. The reading answers not with argument, but with a picture. Forgiveness is not permission for harm. It is an act of freedom for the one who forgives. When bitterness sits, it builds a small, sharp house around the heart. Forgiveness opens a window. Fresh air comes in. The house stays, but the room breathes again. Notice how compassion pairs with forgiveness. Compassion is the gentle seeing of another's smallness and sorrow. It does not excuse destructive behavior. It sees the complexity of being human. When forgiving, try to fold compassion into the motion. Picture 2 hands, one with a small bruise, the other with a small scar. Both hands have stories. Both hands deserve to be treated with tender care. Forgiveness tastes like warm tea in a cold room. If forgiving a person feels too large tonight, begin smaller. Forgive a single gesture. Forgive a tardy word. Forgive a forgotten call. These small acts teach the muscles what it means to release. The chest learns to make room again. The mind learns that mercy can be practiced in tiny steps. I read a line that speaks of how forgiveness lightens the load. The sentence is quiet. It says, "In effect, you were forgiven long before you asked." Receive that first. Let the idea settle like a soft cloth on a bruise. If holding guilt wears the body thin, allow the knowledge of being forgiven to be an ally. Let it unlace the tight cords that hold the chest rigid. There is a small ritual I offer before sleep. Breathe into the memory of the hardest thing. See it as clearly as you can. Acknowledge the sting. Place your hand over the place your body notices first. Speak in the mind a short phrase. I lay this down for tonight. I will return to it with daylight and clearer eyes. For now, I rest. Repeat this once or twice, and then let the thought go like a bird from the palm. Sometimes forgiveness must be asked for. If it is possible, prepare a short, honest sentence for tomorrow. The sentence need not fix everything. It need not be a grand confession. A small, sincere word heals enough of the tension to loosen the night's grip. If reaching is not possible, abbreviate the reaching to a private act. Write the word, fold it, and set it on a high shelf. The act of intention counts. There will be nights when forgiving feels like betraying yourself. I name that without judgment. The book does not rush this. It invites careful tending, if boundaries are needed. Keep them. Forgiveness does not erase prudent protection. Think of a lamp placed at a doorway. It lights the path, but does not remove the fence. Forgiveness and safety can coexist. The night is wide enough for both. Forgiving someone who cannot repent calls for a different kind of courage. The courage is quiet. It is a decision to stop rehearsing the harm night after night. Practice this by giving the hurt a small seat at the table. But no longer the head. Let it have a place where it can be seen without filling the whole room. Acknowledge it. Then cover the table with a cloth of mercy and turn toward rest. Notice the body as the work progresses. Where does resistance live? In the throat, in the stomach. Place a hand there. Breathe into that place. Allow warmth and gentle attention. This small, physical kindness helps the mind follow. Forgiveness is not only a thought. It is a movement that goes through the body. I read the book and find images of morning, mercy. It says, "Arrive like dawn, light comes slowly. The air cools, then warms. The dew lets go of itself from the grass." Imagine forgiving like that. It does not come as a sudden sun. It comes as a patient change. A slow shift that greets the day. Trust the process. Trust that small changes at night make rest possible. There is a practice of memory I recommend. Each night, name one thing for which to be grateful and one thing to forgive. Keep the gratitude small. A warm cup, a message received, a hand held. The pairing trains the heart to balance the ledger not with heavy accounting, but with small acts of mercy. Gratitude asks the heart to remember what is good. Forgiveness asks it to unclench what is not. If the mind insists on replaying a hurt, try a gentle substitution. Replace the loop with a short verse or a line from the passage you heard. Repeat it slowly. Let the words be a soft hammer that reshapes the thought's rhythm. The mind will obey a new rhythm when given, one kindly and persistently. Forgiveness also looks like forgiving oneself. There are many small failures that visit at night. Name one. Give it a small, tender phrase, and then fold it into a cloth. Place that cloth on the bed and imagine the presence of mercy tucking it in. You are allowed to be kind to yourself. The pages I read remind me that mercy often begins at home. As the hour moves, practice a final letting go. Liebeck. Make the body heavy where it meets the bed. One by one, move each finger into a soft curl. Relax the jaw. Let the tongue rest. Picture the day's hurts, collecting at the foot of the bed. Now imagine the light of forgiveness sweeping across them like a small broom. It does not erase, but it reorders. The room becomes livable. I fold the book to mark this place. The phrase I carry is simple. Forgiving is a path that makes room for sleep. It is a small, brave act that returns the heart to peace. The night does not demand that every wound be solved. It asks only that the hands be softened enough to rest. If sleep comes as you breathe, let it come without apology. If it waits, allow these images to keep company. A stone set by the shore, a shirt in the stream, a paper softening in a bowl. Let these be the small tools of mercy you use tonight. Before I close the lamp, place a small finger against your lips and make one more slow breath. Say nothing aloud. In the mind, hand the heaviest thing you carry to the presence you trust. Tell it simply that tonight you are choosing rest. That choice is itself an act of forgiveness. I lay the book down. The cover makes a soft sound. The room is quiet enough to hear small repairs being made inside the chest. I will return with more pages when the hour returns. For now, rest in the small peace you have practiced. Let mercy do its slow work while you sleep. I hold the book and begin a story. It is a small story. It is true enough for the night. It shows how grace arrives where it is not expected. It teaches how a friendship can be a quiet form of mercy. I meet him on an ordinary morning. The street is wet with last night's rain. A bench sits under a plane tree. He is there, head bowed over a cup. He looks tired in a way that time does not fix. A newspaper lies beside him like an old habit. I do not plan the meeting. I only sit. The act of sitting opens a little room. He notices the book on my lap. The cover is worn. The spine is softened by nights like this. He asks, without loudness, if the pages are good for the dark. I say yes. I offer to read. The offer is small. It is not a sermon. It is a simple invitation to share a story and a breath. We begin there. The first nights are short. The bench becomes a tiny chapel. The city hum moves a little farther away. I read a few lines and let silence gather, like soft wool. He listens in a way that makes places feel less empty. His presence teaches my voice to slow. Friendship grows like moss on stone. It is not sudden. It is the accumulation of damp, patient things. A borrowed umbrella during a surprise shower. A shared sandwich when the day is long. A found coin for a tram. Each small gift is unremarked. Each small gift changes how the hands move toward one another. He tells me, without a grand speech, of reasons to be cautious. Life has taught vigilance. I do not press. I listen. Listening counts. It is a small altar where trust is offered when someone hears without judging. A heart makes room. One evening he asks if I will read with him inside. The shelter of a small doorway looks promising. We move a few steps and sit on a low stoop. The light from my lamp spills like softened honey. He breathes easier. Pages turn. The sound of the city is distant enough to be background music. In time, the reading becomes a rhythm. Night after night, a passage, a pause, then another passage. The text does not lecture. It gives plain pictures, a road, a well, a child sleeping. These images settle on the day's sharp edges. When the words fall, something in both of us relaxes. Acts of care follow the reading. I mend a torn coat with a needle and slow stitches. He brings a jar of pickles to a community table. Small things pass between us, like quiet prayers. They are the kind of mercy the world forgets to notice. Mercy here is not dramatic. It is patient and sure. Once, a cold winter finds him without a place to sleep. The nights are sharp. I offer a blanket and a corner. The corner is nothing grand. It is a floor and a pillow and the steady lamp. He accepts with a relief that has a sound like a window opening. That sound teaches me how deep rest can go when fear is given a chance to step aside. Through the months, words of the book weave into ordinary speech. Phrases become markers. They are not used as proof. They are ways to name what is true in small measures. When despair knocks, we say a simple line from the passage, and let the line be a hand on the shoulder. No argument, no display, just a holding. Grace, as I have learned, is often anonymous. It is not thunder. It is a quiet hand that presses a cloth to a wound. One morning, he brings a wrapped loaf. It is a humble gift. The bread is warm. We break it and share pieces like two people repairing a bridge with tiny stones. The bread tastes of hope. We also practice failure. There are evenings when temper flares. Old resentments come loose, like unruly threads. The book I read does not promise perfection. It offers a way back to calm. We do not pretend anger away. We name it, let it breathe, and then return to softer words. The repair is not quick. It is patient stitching. Once he falls sick, a cough that keeps him awake. I sit up late and read for longer than usual. The lamp burns low. My voice finds a steady pace. The pages become a companion to fevered hours. He sleeps on those nights. He wakes with a clearer face. Recovery is slow. It is also gentle, as if the friendship itself becomes a medicine. In the tenderness that grows, Forgiveness finds room. Mistakes are not erased. They are invited into a larger table. When someone stumbles, there is no tally kept. The practice of forgiveness is not a rite, it is a habit. We practice it the same way we practice sitting still with patience, with a hand offered without insistence. Over tea. Others notice. A neighbor brings tea. A shopkeeper saves a roll. The city shows a soft side. The friendship that began on a bench becomes a small network of kindness. The acts are ordinary. They are also holy in their repetition. Grace moves through them quietly, like light through leaves. The most surprising thing is how the friendship reshapes me. Habits soften. A heart that was guarded learns to trust small openings. The night is less lonely. The lamp on the table is not merely mine. It lights both faces. The act of reading becomes mutual. Sometimes he asks for a line again. Sometimes he reaches for the book and turns the page. I continue to read aloud to others before sleep. That habit threads through this friendship. We bring the same pace to other rooms. A woman on the third floor who cannot sleep. A young father who works the graveyard shift. A child who needs the cadence of plain sentences. The practice of reading becomes a way to make mercy visible. The tale does not end with a neat conclusion. Life resists the endings. But there is a clear turn. The friendship shows me how grace can be offered without grand claims. It can be given in bread, in blankets, in steady reading, in remembered lines. Grace shows up in hands that keep time with another's breath. At times, the book sits closed, and we simply sit together. Words are not always required. The silence between two people can be prayer enough. The lamp watches. The city hums. The body relaxes into the truth of being seen. Here is what remains true for the night. Friendship that grows through grace gives room for rest. It teaches how mercy looks in daily life. It proves that hope can be quiet. It teaches that the presence we read of in the book is not an abstract force, but a companion at the table. Before I close the story, I invite a small practice. Think of one person who surprised you with kindness. Picture their face. Hold that image gently. If there is no face, imagine a hand, steady and warm. Breathe into that image. Let it make the chest lighter. This is a small way of recognizing how grace moves. Now the lamp burns thinner. The voice softens. The pages rest. I fold the tale like a cloth and place it beside the book. The story sits with a purpose. It is not a lesson to be solved. It is an example to keep on a shelf, to be returned to when the dark feels wide. I will read again tomorrow. For now, let the thought of unexpected friendship linger. Let it be a neighbor to whatever worry keeps the mind awake. Let the memory of a shared loaf, a mended coat, a steady reading make the room feel less empty. Liebeck. Feel the bed support the weight. Breathe slowly. Allow the small story to do its gentle work. Mercy has many quiet hands. Friendship is one of them. Rest in that simple fact. The lamp makes a small circle of light. The rest of the room leans towards sleep. I close the book and let the silence deepen. The hour ends with a soft promise. Nights are long, but they do not come alone. Grace steps in, often as a friend. Tonight, let that be enough. I open the book and turn to a brief, quiet place. The lamp is low. The page is thin. The lines there are a small harbour for the mind. I read slowly. Then pause. The pause is part of the reading. It makes room. The words ask something simple. Be still. We. Hope rests in that waiting. I put the book down for a moment and let the lamp hold the room. We do not hurry this. The night prefers slow movements. Sit or lie in a way that feels honest. Let the shoulders drop where they naturally fall. Place a hand over the heart, if that feels right. The hand becomes a gentle anchor. The anchor tells the mind where to come back when it wanders. Breathe with intention. Inhale for 4 slow counts. Hold 1. Exhale for 6. Repeat. Each cycle is small. Steady proof that the body can slow. The breath is not a tool to fix everything. It is a current to float on. Let it carry attention away from the sharp edges of the day. Stillness is not empty. It is listening. It asks the ears to turn inward, to notice the soft music of the room, a clock ticking softly, the lamp's faint hum, the breath itself. Attend to those sounds as if they are friends, speaking very low. When thoughts intrude, name them briefly and let them go. This naming is not a fight. It is a courteous act. The mind learns to be less dramatic about its demands. Waiting here is not passive abandonment. It is a posture of trust. Imagine a small boat at anchor in a wide bay. The water moves. The wind touches the sails. The anchor holds. The boat does not force the sea to be still. It rests in the fact of being held. Hope is like that anchor. Hope grounds the boat without denying the waves. If worry arrives, let it sit on the edge of the room. Do not hand it the lamp. Watch it like a neighbor who rings the bell and then waits politely at the stoop. You may invite the worry a little closer to say a single thing. This is tonight's place to rest. You will attend to it when the day returns. For now, the body needs a different kind of meeting. I read the lines again. Softly. The tone is quiet and steady. The sentences are short, so each one can land. Let one land now. Let it press softly into the ribs and become a small proof. The heart responds more readily to small proofs than to large promises. Tonight we collect small proofs. Find a single image to hold. A lamp on a table. A plain cup with steam rising. A slow, patient tree at the edge of a field. Keep this image near the breathing. When the mind spins into old lists and future what-ifs, bring it back to the image as gently as one tends a sleeping child. The image calms the eye and steadies the pulse. Practice a minimal silence. Close your lips. Let the jaw soften. The mouth is a doorway. We can close for a while. The silence that follows is not stark. It has a warmth like cloth folded on a chair. Hear how the chest breathes into that silence. Hear how the mind, when trusted, finds a quieter rhythm. Waiting on hope does not demand proof tonight. It asks only that the heart lean toward a steady presence and remain there. Trust is a muscle that grows by small repetitions. Each night of practiced stillness is another small repetition. The habit forms not by force, but by gentle persistence. If sleep does not come at once, do not judge the night. Some nights teach us patience. They teach the art of bearing a quiet, near sorrow without trying to fix it. Consider giving the mind a single, short phrase to return to, not a sermon, a phrase no longer than a breath. Let it be a familiar touchstone. Each time the mind wanders, come back to that phrase and rest there for a breath or two. The passages speak of refuge and strength. Heard in the dark, those words settle like stones that line a path. They do not remove the slope or the distance to walk. They make each step less lonely. Picture a low wall along a hill you climb at dusk. Rest the palms there. Feel the wall. Support the weight of the day for a moment. Then keep moving at the pace the body allows. There is room here for grief and gratitude to sit side by side. They need not argue. Name a grief softly. Let it have its place. Then name one small thing to be grateful for. It might be warmth on the toes, a voice that called earlier, a hand that held yours without speaking. Gratitude does not cancel sorrow. It widens the space where sorrow might be tended. Waiting is not the same as doing nothing. It is a patient work. The work of waiting tends the soil around hope. It does the slow correction that busy hands cannot do. Imagine a gardener kneeling in the cool of dawn, pulling a single stubborn weed. The motion is small but necessary. So are these quiet acts of attention. When the body resists stillness, move gently into it. Stretch the arms up, then let them fall. Roll the shoulders once, twice. Allow the muscles to find a place where rest is possible. The body often needs permission and small motions before it will accept deeper quiet. I tuck the book on my lap and listen with you. The pages hold a patient rhythm. The lamp casts a soft ring. I do not hurry the night. I do not gather all the worries into a single challenge. I let each sit where it will. And I remind the mind that waiting itself has a form of answer. It asks for trust in the small, faithful things. Think of hope as a slow spring. Below the frost, roots stir. The green does not proclaim itself loudly. It gathers strength, then eventually shows. The timing is not ours to command. The work tonight is to wait with attention, to give the inner soil what it needs: quiet, warmth, light. If a prayer forms naturally, let it be brief and clear, not a string of demands, a short sentence of giving. Hand the heavy thing to a larger care, and then step back. The act of handing over is simple. It has no need of eloquence. The gesture itself loosens the grip in the chest. As eyes grow heavy, allow the lids to close. If they do not, keep them soft. Let the lamps circle, be small and steady. The night narrows in a good way. Narrowness teaches focus. Focus brings rest. The breathing remains the anchor. Before this section ends, make one small promise to yourself. Tonight, when a worry presses, Return to the breath and the chosen image. Stay there for 3 full breaths. That tiny contract trains the heart to accept rest in the face of insistence. Small contracts are honest and keepable. I fold the page over gently and set the book aside. The lamp keeps its watch. The room breathes with the same slow cadence as yours. The stillness is not empty. Now, it is a companion that waits with you. It carries a quiet assurance that hope can be found in waiting. For a moment, sit with the hand on the chest. Feel the steady beat beneath the palm. Let that rhythm be the measure of tonight. Hope lives with that beat. It does not shout. It persists. Let the body feel the truth of that slow insistence. When sleep comes, it will come with the same gentleness. When it does not, the stillness can remain a practice until dawn. Either way, the night is held. The source of hope is steady, and waiting is its partner. Rest now in that simple pattern. Breathe in 4. Hold 1. Breathe out 6. Repeat once more. And let the room gather you into quiet. I will read again soon. For now, wait in stillness and let hope be near. I open the book again and let my thumb rest on the page. The lamp is small, but it makes room. I read a brief story from the life of a man who once fled to a dark place. He had been tired to the bone and afraid. He had known loud things, wind so strong it bent trees, an earthquake that rattled the ground, a fire that ate the night. The world around him had shown great power, yet the presence he needed did not arrive in any of those loud moments. After the wind, the earthquake, and the fire, there came a silence. In that silence, a voice came not as a trumpet or a crash, but as a gentle whisper. It was soft enough to be mistaken for the air itself. It did not shout. It did not demand. It leaned close and spoke to a heart that had been worn thin. I read those lines slowly. I read them like a lullaby. The story is simple. It reminds me that not every answer needs to be impressive. Sometimes what steadies a person is the softest thing that will come. I tell you this because the world often confuses loudness with truth. Loud thoughts say we must be fierce to survive. Loud news tells us that only stormy proofs count. But I have found, and the book confirms, that tenderness often works where force fails. A small breath can steady the nerves when declarations only make them jump. A gentle presence can mend what pride and pressure leave frayed. Tonight, I ask you to try a small listening practice with me. It is quiet. It asks for nothing more than a willing ear and a patient breath. Find a place to rest that needs no explanation. Keep your posture soft. If it helps, place a hand on the chest or over the belly, where the heart makes its small proof of life. Let your shoulders relax. Let the jaw unclench. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Breathe in slow. Count to 3 as you draw air. Hold for 1. Let the breath go in 4. Keep the motion steady and small. Do not force anything. The breath is a companion, not a tool to fix everything. It simply shows the rhythm of being alive. Now imagine a cave, not frightening but quiet. A man once hid in such a cave. Outside, winds roared, and the ground trembled. Inside, the stone kept a different measure. The cave is not a place to hide forever. It is a place to listen. In that listening, a whisper comes. It is like the soft sweep of a hand smoothing a brow. It is like a cool thread of air that touches the cheek. What does that whisper say? I will not speak for it aloud. The words I use would be only my own echo. Instead, imagine a small truth that you need right now. Perhaps it is to be allowed to rest. Perhaps it is to be told that tonight is not the night to fix everything. Perhaps it is to be reminded that you are seen by a care that keeps time with your breath. Let whatever wish for comfort you carry take the shape of a single short phrase inside your mind. Hold it gently. Do not make it many words. Make it simple. Make it true enough to rest on. Listen then for the quiet. It will not crowd your thoughts. It slips in around them like light through curtains. You may feel it more than hear it. A warmth under the sternum. A small loosening in the throat. A weight that eases from the shoulders. The whisper does its work slowly. Give it time. If loudness climbs back, anxious scenarios. Rewound mistakes. Future lists do not fight. Name them briefly in your head. As if greeting an old neighbor, you might say simply, "This is worry." Then return your attention to the single short line you formed. Bring your breath back to its steady count. The whisper is patient. It does not demand instant compliance. It waits with the same softness as the light. I have watched this practice help small, steady repairs in nights that felt ragged. A woman I know holds the whisper as a small lamp. When insomnia takes her, she returns to the soft sentence until the eyelids grow heavy. A father I read to keeps the whisper as a thin rope through his chest. When doubt tugs, he ties his breath to that thread until the tugging eases. These are not miraculous reversals. They are gentle adjustments that allow a worn heart to breathe again. Remember, the whisper does not answer every question. It does not explain all the reasons for pain. It does not promise that every difficulty will be taken away by dawn. What it offers is steadiness. It meets the heart where it is and gives a small hand to hold. That hand is enough to change the angle of the night. It makes the next breath easier to take. If you carry guilt tonight, bring that into the quiet. Let the whisper attend to it. The voice that speaks softly does not erase memory. It teaches how to place burdens down for a while. Imagine setting the heaviest thought on a low stone and stepping back. The stone sits. The posture of carrying loosens. You can return to the thought with daylight and clearer headspace. For now, the whisper keeps watch while the body rests. If sorrow sits with you, let the whisper sit beside it. Sorrow often needs company more than argument. A small, steady presence is the kindest ally. It takes the shape of a warm hand on a chilled one. It does not minimize the ache. It bears it a while so the muscle of grief can soften without being forced. You may wonder how to tell this whisper apart from the rest of your mind. The distinction is gentle. The whisper is not loud or insistent. It rarely insists on proving anything. It will not escalate the fear to make itself heard. Instead, it has a calm that does not need to be loud. It rests as if it trusts the weight of its own steadiness. You will sense it as ease, as a tiny loosening where tightness clustered. Practice this until the ear knows the difference. The habit grows like moss, slow, patient, unglamorous. Each night you return, the whisper finds a seat more easily. It will not always come as a sentence. Sometimes it arrives as a short image, a cup left warm, a hand not withdrawn, a light that stayed burning. Let those quiet images be proof enough. I pause here and fold the page slightly with my thumb. The act is small. It is meant to leave room for the silence that follows. Use that silence well. Do not rush to fill it. Let the lamp on the table be a witness to the quiet. Let your breath be the metronome that keeps the rhythm steady. Before I close the book for a time, I offer one more practice. When thoughts become loud in the middle of the night, place the palm over the small of your back or over the ribs. Press gently. Let the contact say to the body you are held. Then, in your mind, breathe and wait for the softest answer. Let that answer be the measure for the next few breaths. Do this 3 times. No elaborate prayers are needed. Only the willingness to receive a gentle word. I will not pretend that every night will yield a whisper that feels like warmth. Some nights the whisper might be only a faint breeze. That faintness is still enough. It is a beginning, and beginnings matter in the quiet work of rest. As I close this part of the reading, I fold the corner of the page and rest the book in my lap. The lamp makes a soft circle on the table. The room holds the small promise that presence often attends in the gentle places. When you are ready, settle deeper. Let the breath you practice tonight be your companion as you move towards sleep. I will come back with more pages, more small practices, and more stories that keep the heart steady. For now, listen for the whisper in the hush. Let it speak without demand. Let it keep the night company. Lay your head down and allow the softest voice you have heard tonight to be the last sound you follow into rest. I close the book very slowly. The sound is small, like a door eased shut. The lamp keeps its modest glow. The room breathes with you. Rest now in the quiet place where gentle speech arrive. The whisper waits. The night listens. I will return soon. I lift the book and let the lamp hold the page. The room is quiet in a companionable way. Tonight I turn to a passage that has been like a small doorway for many restless nights. It asks the anxious heart to speak. It teaches how to hand over worry without losing the memory of it. I read the lines, not as instruction to force calm, but as an invitation to bring what is heavy into a larger care. Breathe once with me. Inhale slowly for 4 beats. Hold for a soft count. Exhale for 6. Let the body move with the counts. The breath is a lantern for practice. It helps the hands find the place where worry gathers. Think of worry as a small sack on the floor. Each worry has a name: illness, money, a strained word, a future that won't quiet. The sack grows heavier as night closes in. The muscles tighten around the weight. The neck holds too much. The chest grows narrow. The book I hold urges a different motion. It asks for the sack to be lifted and offered Offer does not mean pretending nothing matters. It means speaking the truth aloud and then placing it in another's hands. Say the trouble softly in the mind. Name it once. Do not rehearse the whole dossier. A single name will do. Keep the tone calm. The act of naming changes the thing from a vague pressure into a known shape. Next, add a small thing called thanks. The passage I read pairs requests with gratitude. This pairing is not a bargain. It is a gentle correction. Gratitude reminds the heart of what is already here. It makes the hands less likely to clutch at shadows. Name one small grace from today: a warm cup, a brief smile, a safety that arrived. Let the memory of that mercy sit beside the worry on the bench. Now prepare a brief offering. It can be only a sentence in the mind. It need not be ornate. A single line will do, Lord. I bring this now. Help me with this tomorrow. Or, simply, here is what I carry. The words function like a folded cloth wrapped around the sack. They make the motion of handing over concrete without demanding perfection. If it helps, use paper. Keep a small pad and a pen by the bed. Write the worry and the one thing of thanks. Fold the paper. Place it beside the lamp. The physical motion grounds the invisible exchange. This simple ritual gives the hand something to do and the mind a signal that the burden is not being hidden, but entrusted. When the offering is made, sit in silence for a long breath. Do not rush to fill the quiet with arguments or new tasks. L'état patient quiet comme. The book says that a peace attends such offerings. It is a peace that will not be explained by facts. It arrives as a steadiness in the ribs, a slow uncoiling in the shoulders. It is not always immediate. Sometimes it is only a small change in posture. Name the shift when it appears. If the mind insists on counterclaims, if it says this cannot be given away, acknowledge that thought and return the attention to breathing. Words of the passage remind the anxious that there is a refuge for petitions. Trusting that refuge does not erase fear. It gives fear a place to be seen and then set aside for the moment. Practice, trusting a little at a time. There is a common fear that handing things over means losing agency. It does not. It is an act of delegation, not surrender to indifference. Imagine a nurse taking a tray from a wearied hand. The act releases strength to do what is needed next. The night asks for some of that delegation. The dawn asks for more alertness than tired caregiving can give. Yielding the heavy things now makes waking steadier. Prayer need not be long. Keep it short and clear. Speak to the presence you trust with plain words. Say what you carry. Say thanks for one thing. Then sit in the silence and listen. Listening is part of the prayer. Hearing is often the gentlest reply. The response may come as a thought that calms, an image that soothes, or simply a steadiness that settles over the chest. Guarding accompanies peace in the passage I read. The text pictures a kind of watch around the heart and mind. Imagine a low hedge around a small garden. The hedge does not stop wind entirely, but it softens it. Peace acts like that hedge. It does not erase problems, but it makes the inner place livable tonight. hold the image as you breathe. Let its quiet shape keep the worry from spreading. If sleep does not come right away, do not take that as failure. Often the act of handing over begins a process that moves slowly. The night is patient in this work. Return to the practice again. Name one worry. Name one grateful thing. Offer them. Breathe. Sit. Wait. Repetition trains the heart more than force. When intrusive loops return, try a gentle substitution. Replace the looping thought with a short, calming phrase chosen from the reading. Not a speech, just a still sentence no longer than a breath. Repeat it softly. Let the rhythm of the phrase and the breath reframe the thought's momentum. The mind follows rhythm more readily than argument. Sometimes peace arrives as a physical shift. Knees unclench. The jaw softens. A sound in the throat eases. Notice bodily changes without making predictions. Honor them as small proofs that the offering is working. When such small proofs appear, give thanks again. Quietly. Gratitude keeps the heart from returning to old anxieties like a magnet. There are nights when guilt or shame live inside the sack. These feel denser and more stubborn. Treat them kindly. If a particular regret rises, name it. Then add a line of charity toward yourself. Forgiveness for oneself is a form of offering. Speak a short sentence of allowance. I did what I could. I will try again. These words do not erase mistakes. They shift the posture from fixation to repair. If literal words are hard to find, imagine placing the worry into a warm place. Picture a bowl of water with a flicker of oil on its surface. Set the written paper into the bowl and watch the paper relax. Observe the light on the skin of the water. This small, sensory image can make a symbolic act feel vivid and real for the body. End the practice with a brief thanksgiving. Nothing elaborate. Name 2 small things and hold them for a breath. The act of thanksgiving stitches a small seam between petition and peace. It reminds the heart that life carries many threads, not only the heavy ones. I close the book gently and sit in the lingering light. The lamp keeps a small ring around the pages. Feel the bed supporting the weight of the body. Let limbs melt where the mattress meets them. Allow the hands to rest. Palms up or down, where they find ease before sleep. Make one promise that is small and keepable. Promise to return to the offering in the morning if needed. Promise not to try to solve everything tonight. The promise itself is a light chain that keeps the mind from dragging worries back into full wakefulness. If a sound wakes you later, an old habit, you can repeat the short prayer and the single grateful notice. The motions are cheap and faithful. They bring the heart back to the place it needs to be, a room that can hold rest. I will sit with the lamp for a moment longer. The book lies closed now, folded gently like a hand. If sleep comes, let it come without apology. If wakefulness continues, let the practice rest quietly beside the bed, like a small tool you can reach for again. Tonight, the invitation is simple. Speak one worry. Speak one thanks. Offer both. Wait in the silence that follows. Let a steady peace, inexplicable, yet real, settle around the chest. Allow the guarding of heart and mind to become the night's witness. I tuck the book under my arm and dim the lamp until only a soft halo remains. The room breathes with the same slow cadence as yours. Rest, now in the small exchange that matters tonight. The motion of offering is itself an act of hope. I will return with more pages when the hour returns. For now, sleep into the peace you have invited. I lift the book and let the lamp settle into its small, steady circle. The night is soft. The city breathes at a distance. Tonight I turn to a passage that has steadied me when strength runs thin. It does not promise ease by effort. It promises something quieter. It speaks of grace that meets weakness and makes a different kind of strength possible. I do not receive Versi as proof. I share it as comfort. The message is simple. Grace is enough. In weak places, a power rests that does not belong to human will. It meets the thin places and holds them. It is not loud. It is a steadying weight, like a hand beneath an elbow when fatigue threatens to send the arm crashing. Sit as you are. Let the body find what relief it can. Place a hand where the breath seems to be most real. Notice the small sound of inhaling. Notice the soft fall of exhaling. The breath is the simplest bridge between stress and rest. Keep that bridge in sight. I remember a man I once walked beside. He kept his troubles like coins in a pocket. They clinked together and filled the space where sleep should live. He learned to call every worry by its small name. Illness, debt, a wound that would not seem to close. Each coin made a noise. The night multiplied the sound until it felt unbearable. One evening, he sat with me and showed the pocket to the lamp. He did not ask for solutions. He simply placed the coins on the table and let them be seen. The act was a kind of confession. It was a beginning of receiving. I read the simple lines that most comforted me. I watched the coins, one by one, become less sharp under the lamp's warmth. Receiving grace looks like that. It begins with showing what you carry, not as a demand for magic, not as a proof that faith is measured by absence of doubt. It is a humble motion, a hand laying down what is too heavy for one pair of arms, an admission that certain burdens were never meant to be borne alone. Grace is sufficient. The phrase does not mean troubles vanish like smoke. It means an unseen steadiness finds purchase in broken places. A cracked cup holds water when braced in the right hand. The crack does not disappear. The cup becomes useful all the same. In that usefulness, power is shown, not as what the cup can do alone, but as what it can do when held. When weakness shows up, tremor in the hands, fatigue in the voice, fear at the edge of the thought, allow that to be the place where a different kind of strength arrives. It is gentle. It is a presence that does not scold for the weakness. It does not tally failures. It rests upon them like a warm cloth, providing care and steadiness. The power is not brash. It is patient. It works without haste. Try a small practice with me. Bring to mind one small limit you feel tonight. It may be a tired muscle, a worry that rehearses itself, a fear that wakes the mind. Name it once, simply and soft. Do not drag it through a list of reasons. Say its name as if you set a bowl on a table. Now imagine A larger hand reaching to hold that bowl. The hand is not distant. It is close enough to touch. It does not take the bowl away by force. It steadies it. The bowl can be heavier than before, because the hand shares the weight. This is the picture of grace, as I have learned to carry. It arrives in the shared hold, not in the erasure of the bowl's contents. If the mind resists this image, try a smaller one. Picture a hammock tied between two strong trunks. A person lies there, tired to the bone. The hammock does not remove the fatigue. It supports it. Lying becomes possible again. Sleep comes slowly. Rest arrives. Later, strength returns not as a sudden rush, but as a softer readiness. When I read the passage in quiet, I notice how often the text shows power appearing in small ways. A shelter for the weary, bread broken for the hungry, a neighbor who brings an extra blanket. These acts do not shout, but they are the means by which life is mended. Grace moves through ordinary hands that do what they can, and through a power that rests upon those small acts. There will be nights when pride resists being weak. Pride prefers to manage, to strategize, to plan a route that avoids need. Pride makes clever lists. It performs well under critics. The book I hold invites a different posture. It asks for honest weakness. It invites letting go of the polished self. Let tonight be one of those evenings when the polished self is allowed to rest. Allow a raw edge to be held. I offer a short ritual that has helped me and others. Take a small object from the room, a pebble, a coin, a folded ticket. Let it be the thing that stands for what you cannot carry tonight. Hold it for a breath. Say its name quietly in the mind. Place it on a table or by the lamp. Then say, in the mind, a single sentence of handing over, not elaborate, not theatrical. Just this. This is not mine to carry alone tonight. Place your hands back in your lap. Breathe. This ritual is not magic. It is a practice of trust. It trains the hands and the heart to stop clutching. It teaches the limbs to relax. It shows the mind that acts of surrender have shape and are repeatable. With repetition, the surrender becomes easier. The night grows kinder. Grace comes also as patient permission. Permission to be less than whole. Permission to fail. Permission to sleep with questions still open. Permission to let another's strength be the night's support. These permissions feel radical when the world insists on always standing. Let the word permission settle like a small key in the pocket. Use it tonight. If remorse presses, sit with it briefly, and then hand it over in the little ritual. If fear keeps whispering, name the fear and let the larger hand take the bowl. If loneliness rings loudly, set down the coin and remember a face that once stayed. Give that small memory room to become a neighbor. I read these words aloud, not to instruct or to debate. I read them because in the darkness the sound carries differently. The voice is a soft companion. The text becomes a small lamp that points to a truth. Weakness is not the end of the story. It is the place where a different power comes to rest. As the minutes pass and the lamp makes the circle a little smaller, notice the body again. Where does the tension live? Let the breath go to that place. Let it breathe out longer than it breathes in. Each exhale loosens the grip. Each surrender is a small admission that the arms were not designed to hold every weight alone. Grace is sufficient. Say it softly in your mind as a lullaby. Let it be the last phrase you keep before sleep. Say it again when a thought starts to race. Let it be a soft rhythm against the chest. Over time, a strange thing happens. The heart learns that being weak need not mean being abandoned. The shoulders learn to lower. The nights become places where repair begins. I will close the book in a moment. Before I do, place your hand on your heart if it feels right. Feel the beat there. Let that beat be the proof that you are held in ways both small and vast. Give one slow breath with the palm there. Release it gently. Let the rest come as it will. Tonight, when sleep arrives, let grace be its cushion. If wakefulness returns, return to the hand on heart practice. Name one small weakness. Lay it on the table. Hand it over in the simple sentence of trust. Rest in the fact that power rests upon the weak. It does not shame them. It holds them. I close the book with care. The lamp keeps a thin glow. I promise to return with more pages and quiet practices. For now, let grace do the work it is made for. Let the night breathe mercy into the places that feel too fragile. Let rest be true for this hour. Let the power that rests upon weakness be the last thing you carry into sleep. I open the book and let the lamp make a small harbor on the table. The page catches the light. My thumb rests where the spine is soft. The room breathes with me. I will read to you now. Tonight the lines point toward trust. A simple sentence sits near the heart of the passage. It says, in effect, there is a plan that stretches beyond the present trouble. The plan is not a loud promise. It is a quiet shape that holds a future with hope. I speak it gently because nights need soft truths. Breathe with me. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 1. Exhale 6. Keep the rhythm slow. Let each breath be a small proof that life continues. Let the ribs soften a little. Let the shoulders find rest. I tell a story from my own life. It is not a tale of spectacle. It is a small, true thing. Years ago, I lived under a pressed weight. Mistakes gathered like heavy coats hung on a peg. I wore them without thinking. The peg bent. My step grew careful. I planned around shame. I avoided some doors. One evening, a line from the book sat in my lap. It offered a small map. The map did not reroute every step. It offered a simple promise that the future could hold meaning and that current pain did not have the last word. I read the line and I let it rest in my chest, like a pebble in a palm. The pebble warmed slowly. I begin the change with a single small action. I write one thing I fear on a piece of paper. I fold it once. I place it on the table under the lamp. The act makes the worry a physical thing. That motion alone is a kind of handing over. The mind follows the hands. The body learns a new habit. Grace arrives not as a grand rescue. It arrives through patient small things. A neighbor bringing a bowl of soup. A friend who says, plainly, come sit for a while. a quiet sentence read aloud at bedtime. These acts do the real mending. They do not erase the past. They let the past be seen and then set down. I remember the night when a small offering changed a course. I sat with the paper and breathed. I said aloud, not with a loud voice, that I would let the heavy thing be carried in part by another care. That was my first step toward trust. The phrase I say sometimes is the same one you may have heard in the text, a reminder that plans exist for peace and hope. I do not use the phrase like a charm. I use it like a light to follow from one foot to the next. The process is slow. It respects the body. It asks no sudden feats. I begin by making small lists. One column of fears. One column of small mercies. The mercies balance the ledger more gently than you think. A warm bed. A name that called today. A small repair done. These things are not grand. They steady the heart. Trust does not require evidence all at once. It asks for one more breath and one more small step. I learn to trust by practicing it. I hand over a worry tonight and then return to it in daylight. I do not abandon care. I change the timing. The night becomes a place for rest, not for endless solving. If guilt presses, I let the book speak of mercy first. Mercy is practical. It comes like a hand that unbuttons a heavy coat. The hand does not erase the weather that soaked the coat. It simply lifts the wearer out of the rain for a moment. In that shelter, the breath slows. The mind becomes able to think of repair, not only blame. I tell you another small scene. A neighbor I know once lost a long job. The days that followed were rough. Pride keeps silent in such times. The neighbor accepted help because the nights made the silence loud. Meals came. Work opportunities emerged, slowly. The neighbor began, quietly, to accept a plan larger than a single day's shame. New beginnings rarely arrive in one dramatic gesture. They arrive through patience and small acts of kindness that build a pathway forward. When the text says plans for hope, it invite patience. The plan is not always clear in the dim. It appears like a trail of small lamps, spaced so one can follow them, step by step. Walk only to the next lamp. Do not force the rest of the way to appear. The act of following is trust. Practice with me a small ritual now. Place a hand where the heart is most felt. Close the eyes if that helps. Breathe in 4. Hold 1. Out 6. Name one fear in a single quiet phrase. Name one small kindness from today. Fold both into your mind like 2 small stones. Set one in a bowl beside you. Keep the other as a warm weight in the palm. The bowl and the palm balance each other. They teach the hands a new work. I learned that redemption begins with an honest small step. It begins when a person stops running from their own shadow. It begins when someone sits down at the table with the lamp and says, I will try again tomorrow. Grace meets that willingness. It does not demand perfection. It only asks for the next small try. Redemption is not only for the past, it is for the future. It reshapes memory by putting new acts beside old mistakes. Over time, the old story keeps its place, but it is no longer the only story. New threads weave in. a life becomes a patchwork of small mercies and modest repairs. The heart learns to sleep even with some repairs still in process. If doubt creeps in tonight, do not argue with it at length. Name it, and then return to the breath. Worry is often loud when the body is tired. A tired body listens poorly. Give the body what it needs: first warmth, a slow breath, a settled posture. The mind will follow. I place the book down for a moment, and let the quiet fill the room. Imagine a small garden behind a house. Some plants bear fruit, some remain in slow growth. A gardener tends the bed every day. That tending is trust in action. It requires patience, not panic. So I ask you to be a gentle gardener for your own heart. There are nights when the plan looks like a blank page. Those are the nights where trust feels thin. On such nights, the smallest actions matter. Write one sentence about a hope you hold. It can be tiny. A hope that tomorrow offers a clearer choice. A hope that a conversation will go better. Place that sentence where you can see it in the morning. A restful night can make the morning clearer. Hope and trust are companions. Hope is a small ember. Trust fans it with soft breaths. Mercy covers it like kind hands. Redemption comes when that ember ignites again, not as a bonfire, but as a steady warmth that cooks small bread and warms feet. That warmth is enough for many nights. I returned to the text and read a line slowly. Let it sit in the chest like a small stone. Let it be a measure. Let it be a point to return to when thoughts wander. The night does not ask for certainty. It asks for steady practice. If sleep arrives, let it come without apology. If wakefulness remains, let the lamp be your patient companion. Keep breathing the slow rhythm. Keep the hand over the heart if that helps. Return your mind, gently, to the single hope you have named. Let trust grow by repetition, not by force. Before I close this section, I leave a final small encouragement. Redemption takes ordinary steps. Fresh starts are small at first. They gather momentum like water swelling a brook. Trust that the plan is patient. Trust that the next step exists. Even if it only appears when you take it, keep your hands open enough to receive small mercies. Keep your feet steady enough to move toward the next lamp. I fold the page and lay the book closed in my lap. The lamp throws a thin circle of light. The room seems kinder for the words. I promise to return with more pages when the hour comes again. For now, rest in the trust that plans for you hold hope. Let that trust be the last soft thing in your mind before sleep. Breathe slowly. Rest gently. I will read again tomorrow. I open the book and lay it across my knees. The lamp throws a small circle of light. The room is quiet. My voice is soft. I read because the words settle like water on dry ground. Tonight I turn to a line that calls the book itself living. It says the word is alive. It moves. It touches places that the day hides. I do not speak this to prove. I speak it to offer a way in when sleep will not come. Hold the book if you wish. Rest your hand on its cover. Feel the slight warmth of the page where others have rested their thumbs before you. The paper remembers. simple things. It holds a many-night habit of being opened and trusted. The phrase that stays with me is not a loud claim. It is a quiet promise. The words here are not dead letters. They carry breath. They reach into the dark places with a kind of careful light. They do not force or shame. They simply know the shape of what is hidden and offer a gentle clarity. When I read that the word is active, I think of a lamp carried along a hallway. The lamp does not shout. It reveals one step at a time. It shows the small stones. It shows where the floor is even. That kind of light calms the feet. It does not demand the whole journey be visible. It asks only for the next step. There is an image I keep close. Picture a seamstress at a night table. Her needle moves slowly. The thread pierces the cloth. The motion is precise. It does not tear for the sake of harm. It makes room for repair. Scripture works like that. It reaches into the seams of the heart. It finds where things pull apart. It offers paths to stitch them back together. Sometimes the words feel sharp. They cut through excuses and busy noise. They will not let us hide forever behind cleverness. But that sharpness is not cruel. It is like a small knife that removes a splinter. The cut stings briefly. Then relief follows. The wound is cleaner. The body can mend. I place a hand over my chest as I read. The habit feels right tonight. The chest can be a noisy place. Breath holds a history. The hand reminds the heart where to rest. If it helps, do the same. A soft palm becomes a small anchor. The book also acts as a mirror. Not a mirror of vanity. A mirror that shows what's really true without needing an argument. Put the page near your face and look down. Not to judge, but to witness. See the tiredness there. See the small marks that worry makes. The recognition itself is a mercy. It begins the work of healing. Words from this page often find their way into the quiet places of my own life. I read them when the night is crowded with reasons for fear. I read them when plans look thin. Sometimes the reading is only a sentence, sometimes a single phrase. Each one is like water offered in a parched place. If the mind resists, do not push. Resistance is natural. Name it softly. Say, this is resistance. Then return to the breath. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out longer. Let the words you hear be the companion to that breathing. The sound of their slow cadence helps the body accept rest. Scripture is not only judge, it is comforter. It names the brokenness and then leans in to bind it. Think of a doctor with careful hands. The doctor's touch is not harsh. It is precise. The doctor cleanses, spexcolum, and then tends the wound. So the text tends. It does not leave you exposed. It wraps the ache in language that understands. There is a tenderness to the way these lines read when the lamp is low. They come close to sorrow without shrinking from it. They do not offer quick fixes. They offer companionship. They sit at the bedside with the pillow. They listen to the breathing and breathe with it. That companionship teaches the body to accept a gentler rhythm. When I read that the word judges the thoughts and intentions of the heart, I think of a kindly housekeeper who opens the curtains in the morning. The housekeeper does not shout about the dust. She simply lets in light. In that light, things become clear. Shadows shrink. The work of tidying begins easily, because the room is seen. If a thought rises that brings shame, bring it into the light of a single sentence from the book. Do not make a case for the thought. Do not argue. Place it beside a phrase that feels true and gentle. Let the pairing change the shape of the thought. Often the heart needs only that small rearrangement to breathe easier. The living word also supplies direction. There are nights when the path ahead feels vague. The book does not hand a full map. It offers a point to aim for. It gives hope a shape. Think of a star seen through a window. You cannot follow it across every country, but you can fix your eye on it and let the chest find steadiness in the looking. Practice with me a small exercise. With the book open, choose a line that rests easily in the ear. It may be short. Keep it no longer than a breath. Repeat it softly once or twice. Let the words meet your breathing. Inhale with the first half. Exhale with the last. Use the phrase as a gentle guide, not a performance. When sorrow sits heavy, let the words sit too. Set the book on your knees. Close your eyes and imagine the sentences as a warm cloth laid upon the place that aches. The cloth does not make pain vanish. It makes pain held. Being held changes pain. It changes the way the body learns to live with it. I have watched this happen quietly with others. A woman in a small room reads the same sentences each night until they become like a door she can open when worry knocks. A man with tired hands keeps the book by his bed and allows a single phrase to be the measure of the night. These practices are simple. They are steady. They are true enough. The word also reminds us that truth is kind. Truth can be firm and gentle at the same time. It calls out what hurts. It offers a way forward by naming mercy. When words expose a wrong step, they do so to make a clean place for repair. The heart can accept such correction when it arrives with love. If questions come about plans, about a future not yet visible, bring them into the room without fear. Speak them silently into the page. The book will not scold. It will not provide an immediate answer for every doubt. It will, however, keep company with the questions. It will point toward patience and toward a presence that holds plans for welfare and hope. Trust grows in small increments. Let tonight be one. Before I close this page, take one more slow breath with me. Inhale for 4. Hold 1. Exhale for 6. Let the breath carry the words into the place where they can do their quiet work. If sleep comes, let the book fall open but restful. If wakefulness remains, let the lamp be a patient witness. I fold the page gently with my thumb. The book rests like a hand on the lap. I place it on the bedside with care. The lamp throws a thin circle of light. The room keeps its hush. I promise to return to these pages again and again. The word will wait. It is living. It is present. It is ready to meet the heart where it is. Now, let the last sentence you hear tonight be one of soft assurance. Keep it simple in your mind. Let it be a line you can follow with the next breath. I will read more when the hour comes again. For now, rest. Allow the living words to do their quiet, steady work. Trust. Even when the way is unclear, Let mercy and hope keep watch. I lift the book and press my thumb into the margin where the page breathes. The room is quiet in that patient way. Outside, a few distant sounds fold themselves into the house. Inside, a different sound takes hold. The soft cadence of words reads slow. Tonight, the lines lead me to a picture I have returned to often. It is not ornate. It is almost domestic. God appears as a shepherd. The image is plain and steady. It does not boast. It simply tends. Picture a meadow that lies open after rain. The grass there is cool and low. Dew gathers on the blades like tiny glass beads. In that place, animals move without hurry. They eat. They rest. A small stream bends through the field and makes a quiet promise with each turn. The shepherd walks there with a steady step. He knows each shoulder and each tread. I read these images as if they were gentle instructions for the body. Let the eyes soften. Do not strain for detail. Notice only the closest things. A blade of grass, a stone warmed by the sun, a feather that has fallen and rests in the grass. These small things anchor the mind to the present. When the text speaks of leading to green pastures, think of a hand that guides you off a stony path. Imagine a hand that does not pull. It invites. The invitation is kind. It asks nothing of you but to follow at a rhythm that matches your breath. Follow for a single step. That one step is enough. The shepherd does not herd with loud commands. Care is in the quiet. A low voice. A soft whistle. A crook placed near a shoulder when a climb becomes steep. These are small gestures that show attention. They teach a tired body that help can be ordinary and near. There is a line that says the shepherd makes the wanderer lie down. That lying down is not defeat. It is a permission. Permission to let the muscles loosen. Permission to let the jaw unclench. Permission to stop the small rehearsals that the mind runs like a worn record. Imagine a field wide enough to hold every small regret. The body may lay down there for a space and breathe differently. When the book says the waters are still, picture a shallow pool that mirrors the sky. No wind disturbs it. The surface is calm enough to see the reflection of a single cloud. Standing by a still pool, a person may find that thoughts settle as if stones sink to the bottom. The water does not rush to fix the day's troubles. It only offers steadiness. That steadiness is the place where hearts begin to quiet. Listen with me to how the living words work. They do not settle only on the surface like dust. They sink. They move as rain does into soil. If a sentence is taken in with care, it reaches the roots. Something unseen responds. A small mercy finds a place to rest inside. The phrase becomes a soft light behind the eyes. Guidance arrives not as a loud command, but as a change in feeling. The chest eases. Decisions seem less heavy. That slow change often begins after only a line or two. I ask you to try a small practice now. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Let the hands find whatever is most natural resting on a blanket or folded over the stomach. Imagine a path through grass that is easy to tread. Walk the path slowly in your mind. Notice the rhythm of the feet. Hear the whisper of grasses against your ankles. Somewhere ahead, a figure stands steady. There is no rush to speak, just the presence of someone who knows the way. The shepherd uses a staff. A simple tool. Think of a staff as a support rather than a weapon. When the feet falter on a pebble, the staff steadies. When the ground slips, the staff finds purchase. The living word functions in this way. It is not an argument to be wielded. It is an offered support. When the heart stumbles into worry, a remembered phrase from the text can steady the hands and adjust the step. Restoration is another quiet word in the passage. It does not promise instant repair. It promises a tending that continues. A soul that has been frayed by loss and by long worry can be brought into a place where the fibers knit more gently. Imagine someone taking a small, broken basket and rewiring the handle with care. The basket remains scarred. It is still useful. The work of repair is practical and ongoing. Guidance is pictured as a path to right choices. The shepherd guides in ways that match the traveler's capacity. The path is not always straight. There are gentle bends. There are times when the way looks narrower than expected. The shepherd walks near and shows the next safe step. This kind of guidance respects the pace of a tired person. It does not demand heroics. It offers a clear next move. When the living word meets a heart that listens, comfort follows in precise ways. It is not merely a warm feeling. It shows up in choices that become simpler. A person will notice that small generosity makes room in the chest. A night will feel less crowded. Sleep comes easier because the mind has fewer sharp edges to hold onto. Let the words do this work by being paid attention to slowly. That is the key immersion. Not speed. There are times when the shepherd goes ahead. That forward motion is not abandonment. It is preparation. The shepherd walks toward rest on behalf of the flock. He makes the ground softer. He finds the places where water gathers. In the same way, the living text often prepares a path before the traveler sees it. A single sentence read at the right time can make the next day look less daunting. Do not expect eloquence or dramatic signs. The passage tends toward the domestic: bread placed at a table, a quiet chair by the hearth. These ordinary images matter. They teach that the care described is present in small domestic acts. A neighbor who brings bread, a friend who keeps the light on, a hand that pats a shoulder. These are ways the shepherd's care is made visible. If fear visits tonight, notice it and do not try to outrun it. Name the fear without arguing. See it as a cloud that passes over the meadow. It may dim the light for a while. It will not extinguish the sun. Let the pages you read be like a low horizon that keeps the sun's path visible even when clouds gather. I read these lines not to answer every question. The aim is rest. The aim is to place the heart in a field where tending can happen. The living word penetrates by repeating small truths until they sink. The repetition is gentle. It is like a steady hand smoothing a fabric. Over time, the texture of the heart changes. When the reading ends for now, keep the image close. Carry the meadow in the mind like a token. Let it be a place you can return to simply by breathing and by remembering one small line. A single image can become a lever that moves the weight of worry a little at a time. I close the book with deliberate care. The cover makes a soft sound. The page sits warm under my thumb. The silence that follows is not empty. It contains the gentle echo of the shepherd's steps. Rest in it for a while. Let the slow steadiness you found here hold you. I will come back to this image tomorrow. For now, let the picture guide the breath and ease the limbs. Allow the living words to continue their quiet work inside. Sleep if it comes. If not, stay with the calm of the meadow and the steady hand that leads. The night is long, but the shepherd walks with us step by small step. I lift the book and let my thumb rest at the top of the page. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. I breathe once and feel the room breathe with me. Tonight, I turn to a short phrase that has kept me steady. You are a child of God. I do not parade the words as proof. I offer them as an anchor. I begin softly. In the quiet, identity matters, not the loud shapes the day gives us, not the list of tasks or the titles people hand us. Identity here is a gentle thing. It is how one rests when names fall away. It is what remains when the performance ends. He asks you to settle deeper. Let the shoulders release their usual burden. Place a hand where you sense the heart best. The palm is a small lamp against the chest. It tells the body where to come back when thoughts wander. Breathe with me. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 1. Exhale 6. Do it again. With each breath, imagine a small truth finding its way into the ribs. The truth is simple. It does not require argument. It requires receiving. Receive it like a linen cloth placed on a sore place, gently and without hurry. I picture identity in small, domestic terms. Think of someone who calls you by a name only they use. The name is particular. It fits like an old sweater. It warms without being flashy. That is how the book treats our belonging. There is a voice that remembers the smallest things about you. That remembering is a form of family. To embrace who you really are. Begin with naming, not aloud unless you wish. Say inwardly 1 short sentence, I belong. Keep it no longer than a breath. Let it sit in the chest without demanding that anything else change. The muscles around the jaw often unclench when this happens. Allow them to. Identity as a child is not a role to perform. It is a posture to accept. Imagine standing in a room where a parent has already set a plate. The food is ready. No list of achievements is required to be invited. Sit. Let the invitation be enough. You do not need to earn the chair. I read lines that speak of adoption, though I do not weigh the word down with explanation. Adoption here feels like a steady welcome. It is a reordering of life's ledger. Things that once felt decisive lose their power to define you. The ledger stays. It is simply placed on a shelf so other things can be noticed. Mercy and welcome become the first things you count. There is a small practice I offer now. Take a piece of paper or simply breathe in the air of the room. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Picture one way the world labels you that does not fit. It may be a shame. It may be a role you never wanted. Hold that label gently in the mind. Do not turn it over with harshness. Place it on a table in the imagination. Across from that table, imagine a soft lamp. Under its light, a new name is written on a different paper. The name is short, beloved. Child. Held. Bring your breath to that new paper. Let it glow a little. Move your attention back and forth until the new name feels as tangible as the old label. This motion is not denial. It is reorientation. The book I hold often returns to images of clothing. Clothes do not make essence, but they change how a body moves. Picture being clothed in kindness. Imagine garments that fit the shape of your fatigue, rather than stretch it thin. Clothes that mend without making scars vanish. Let the image be a comfort. Let it tell the body how to relax into rest. Identity also changes how memory lives. When someone is known as a child, past mistakes lose the power to rewrite the whole story. They become chapters, not the title page. You can look back without being trapped there. The heart learns that a single failure is not the whole biography. If regret is near tonight, bring it into the light with a small, practical move. Place a hand on the place that tightens first. Breathe toward it. Talk to it in the softest phrases you can find. The book does not command that the regret vanish. It shows how to treat it with gentleness. That tenderness is an act of identity. You are someone who deserves patience. Trust grows by small repetitions. Identity as a child of God is not the result of a grand proof one night. It is the outcome of many nights like this. Slow readings, repeated assurances, tiny rituals. The habit of being called beloved becomes natural when the ear hears it often enough to stop wondering if it is a mistake. I invite a tiny ritual you can repeat later. Before sleep, whisper a short line in your mind again. No loudness required. It may be, I am held, or I am beloved. Let the phrase be private and brief. Repeat it 3 times with the breath. Inhale with the first syllable. Exhale with the second. Do this until the words and the breath align. Or team, they will come together without effort. The living words I read do not set you up for endless ease. They meet the concrete of life. They hold sorrow and offer a way to live with it. Being a child does not remove hard things. It changes their occupation in your life. Hard things do not live in the center anymore. They live on the margins where they can be tended. There are practical signs of this identity in the small things of a day. A neighbor's kindness, a hand extended at the right time, a light kept burning when the house seems cold. These fit together like stones in the hands. They are not proof of worth. They are evidence of belonging. Collect them without needing a trophy case. Sometimes the mind objects. It lists reasons. This cannot be true. The book I hold acknowledges those voices without letting them have the final word. Name them briefly: fear, shame, doubt. Then return to the practice. Breathe. Place the hand. Say the brief sentence. Doing the small thing weakens the loud objection. I tell a short memory. Once, after a long season of mistakes and retreats, I sat under a low lamp and read the same sentence over and over. The sentence was not flashy. It was like a seam pressed into cloth. After some nights, the seam became a habit. I woke with it, and the day moved differently. Habit is a quiet carpenter. Give it time. Part of accepting this identity is allowing care from others. If the chest aches, because of pride or stubbornness. Practice receiving. Let someone bring tea. Let a friend stay silent with you. Hands that give are the small hands of family. Receiving is not weakness. It is recognition that belonging is mutual. I slow my voice and read a short phrase again. The sound becomes a small net under the ribs. Let it catch the anxious jumps. Let the syllables be a place where the breath can rest. The night needs soft repetition. The truth sinks in that manner. If the heart is very tired, do a brief physical practice. Lie down. Let the limbs go heavy. Keep the palms open. Place one hand on the chest, the other over the belly. Breathe slow. Say inwardly the brief name you chose. Feel the body answer by letting the muscles uncurl. The motion is not dramatic. It is domestic and true. I do not end with demands. I end with an offer. Tomorrow's tasks will come when morning does. For now, permit the chest to accept a kinder story about itself. Identity is not a cloak you put on for an evening and take off. It is a small home you learn to return to. Tonight, enter that home by way of breath and simple words. Before I close the book, I fold the corner of the page with my thumb, as if marking a place for return. The lamp makes a thin circle. I promise to read again. I promise to bring words that help the body find rest. For now, lie where you are. Let the hand stay where it rests. Breathe slow. Let the brief phrase be the last thing you hold before sleep. I belong. I am held. I lay the book down with reverent care. The room breathes. The night listens. Accept the identity offered here tonight. Let it settle like a warm cloth across the chest. Sleep if it comes. If wakefulness remains, keep the phrase near and repeat the simple breath. I will return with more pages when the hour comes again. For now, rest as a child rests safe, remembered, and loved. I lift the book and let the lamp make its small pool of light. The room is quiet. My thumb rests at the edge of the page. Tonight I read a parable. It is a simple story meant to rest the mind. It shows mercy in a small town with a long table. A baker runs the parable's heart. He keeps a shop at the road's bend. The oven lives there like a small sun. Bread comes out warm and plain. He does not only sell bread, he sets a table each evening along the lane. The table is long. It runs past the windows of the houses. It goes on and on, where the street curves out of sight. People come in ragged and in clean coats. They come with questions and with silence. Some bring songs. Some bring heaviness. The baker places loaves and a plain jug of water. He sets simple bowls. He makes room no matter the hour. No one must announce themselves to come. No list hangs on the door. The table is kept ready. A man in the town once wondered why the baker did this. He watched from a doorway. He saw a woman come in late. Shoulders drip with rain. The baker held a towel and a bowl without asking how she had come by the mud. The woman sat and ate. Her hands stopped trembling as the bread warmed them. No one pressed her for explanation. Another night a traveller sat down and took more than he meant. He left before the laughter cooled. The baker did nothing to chase him. Next week the traveller returned. He looked ashamed and tried to hide his face. The baker gave him a slice, as if the absence had been no more than a small delay. Mercy did not weigh the wandering. It cleared a cup and set another. One winter, a child came with pockets full of rocks. He said he had earned his slice. He arranged the stones along the table like a careful ledger. The baker counted nothing. He broke a piece of bread and handed it over nonetheless. The child kept a stone in his fist, as if it were a memory. Later, he slipped the stone back into his pocket and walked a little lighter. People began to call it the long table. Some thought it a charity for the desperate. Some thought it a show. The baker never explained. Mercy here is not loud. It is persistent. It is a habit. It is a small, steady work that happens night after night. The truth of it shows in small things, a loaf cut in two, without question. A blanket passed to a shivering pair. A scuffed shoe repaired with wax and thread when a quarrel breaks out. The baker does not take sides. He brings more bread. He moves a chair between two people and sets the jug of water where both can reach. He speaks to the anger as if it were a bad weather that needs a roof. Not an enemy to be named. He says little. His silence is not avoidance. It is a kind of waiting room where hearts can cool. One dusk, a young woman stands at the table and asks for a seat for her father, who is far away and broken in ways no letter can fix. She opens her hands and says the name of his fault. The baker moves a small candle and places it near her bowl. He does not lecture. He does not add a condition. Someone at the far end of the table begins a quiet story, and the sound makes the air less sharp. The town keeps a rumor that the baker once had a great debt. He had once been a borrower in a house that turned cold on him. He paid back more than he could afford and still found his pocket empty. That debt taught him a small thing. He had learned how it felt to be returned to a table with shame in the step. He set the long table because he remembered the way one small bread saved his hands from shaking. A stranger, one autumn, brings a sack with a hole. He drops it by the table. Grain spills in a slow, dusty line. The baker does not scold. He gathers the grain and pours it into a new sack, shaking it until the holes close with many stitches. He mends the sack gently, as if he is repairing a garment of memory. The stranger sits with head bowed and does not ask for anything. The dough he keeps gives him enough for the road. The parable does not claim that everyone who sits becomes perfect. People still forget. People still leave early. Arguments still flore. The long table does not turn nights into a poem without thorns. It only changes the frame around the thorns. It moves the thorns to a place where hands can reach them with soft gloves. Once a woman comes who expects nothing. Her life is full of small failures. She thinks mercy is a thing for others. The baker sets a bowl before her and lights a lamp. No one asks about the past. No ledger gets opened. The bowl warms her hands. Her shoulders drop. Not because the world forgets what happened, but because a human sees her and keeps a place open. The recognition is a kind of mercy that does not need a speech. If anyone asks, who deserves the bread? The baker only says, the table is wide. He does not measure worth. He makes room first and trusts that human hearts begin to answer in time. When someone receives without credit, later they give. The giving is small. A pot of stew, a knitted cup, a hand on a carriage. The long table becomes a place where mercy is both given and returned in ordinary acts. At times the baker stands alone at dawn and sweeps the crumbs to a basket. He gathers what was wasted and makes soup for those who will need it tomorrow. His mercy is not showy. It is a slow recycling of small kindnesses. Night after night, the table keeps the town from being only a collection of closed doors. It becomes a common room where people practice gentleness. The parable moves like this to a small climax. A traveler arrives with a cloak torn in many places. He believes himself beyond welcome. He has kept that belief like a shield. The baker does not ask why the cloak is torn. He takes it gently and sews new patches into it. He does not make the cloak unscarred. The patches are obvious and oddly beautiful. The traveler sees the work, feels the cloth fold differently, and then bows his head. This is mercy not as erasure, but as mending that honors what was broken. The story stops there and waits. It does not tidy every life. It does not promise that the table will make everything right by morning. It does promise a steadiness. It shows that loving work, repeated faithfully, becomes a place where people learn to rest. After the parable, I place a hand on the book and look up at you. I read the parable slowly because sleep listens to slow sounds. I do not use it to teach a lesson. I use it to invite a feeling. Mercy feels like a warm table. Mercy feels like mending where the mender does not pretend the tear was never there. Mercy gives room. Mercy keeps a place where one can breathe again. Sit with that image now. Picture the long table in your mind. See the candlelight. See the bread with steam lifting from it. Imagine walking toward the table with the weight you carry. See a place set for you that does not require a list of achievements. The invitation is simple. You need only accept the seat. Breathe with me. Inhale to 4. Hold for 1. Exhale to 6. Let each breath transport you a little closer to the table. Let the shoulders fall. Let the jaw unclench. You are allowed to rest, not because everything is fixed, but because a kind work is steady enough to hold what is hard. If a memory of guilt arises, do not amplify it. Name it gently and lay it on the bench by the table, as if setting down a small parcel. You do not have to justify it. You only place it there. Watch the baker of the story nod and offer a loaf. The motion is small. It is enough. If fear presses, imagine the baker mending a coat beside you. He does not say you must be braver. He simply repairs. Let that silent action be permission to stop performing. Permission is mercy wearing an apron. Before I close the book, I ask a single, soft question for the night. Who in your life needs a place at your table the parable does not push for grand charity? It asks for one small thing, a ready seat, a soft word, a bowl of soup, a hand that does not tally. If the thought is too large for tonight, choose instead one tiny act of kindness you can offer in the morning. Keep the idea brief. Let it rest like a seed. I fold the page and press my thumb to the corner. The lamp sends its gentle circle across the table. The room eases. The parable settles like a small stone into the pond of the mind. Ripples are slow. Now lie back a little. Let the body find the place where the mattress holds you best. Rest the hands where they feel light. Breathe again in 4. Hold 1. Out 6. Picture the table. Picture the baker's steady hands. Let these images be the last small things in the mind before sleep. I will read again another night. For now, let the parable keep watch. Let the mercy it shows be a cushion under the ribs. You are invited to rest at the table. Mercy sits with you there, patient and near. Sleep if it comes. If it waits, stay with the picture and the slow breath. The lamp keeps its watch. I close the book with care and promise to return. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. The book opens where my thumb rests. Tonight, the page brings a quiet instruction about prayer. It is not loud. It is steady. It asks for simple acts. I read a short line from the scripture so the words can sit between us. The meaning is plain. Confess softly. Pray for one another. Such honesty makes room for healing. The verse is not a test. It is an invitation to unburden the chest. I set the book down and breathe with you. Inhale gently. Exhale slowly. Let that rhythm be the ground beneath the practice. Prayer grows best from a steady breath. Prayer is a reaching. It is a turning of the hands toward what hurts. It does not promise instant answers. It does promise a meeting. A presence comes near. That presence listens. It changes things by changing the heart that brings the trouble. Confession comes first. Not as a litany of guilt, not as recrimination, as a soft naming of what feels heavy. Say the name of the hurt inside. Say the small thing that repeats in the night. Say it without a long argument. The act of naming makes the weight a single object. The hands can then set it down. When people confess to one another, healing moves differently. The burden loses its shape when shared. Shame shrinks in the light of another honest voice. A whispered truth beside a lamp can loosen a tight jaw. The community of faithful hearing becomes a place where restoration begins. Praying for another is a small, powerful habit. It is not an attempt to force outcomes. It is a consistent turning toward the good of someone else. It makes the heart capable of receiving mercy. The habit changes the one who prays and the one prayed for. It stitches a kind of mercy between two lives. I keep the words short when I read them aloud. Then, I invite a simple practice. Take one breath. Name one need. Speak the name of the need softly in your mind. If it feels right, place a hand where your breath feels most true. The hand is a gentle anchor. It is a witness to the act of giving. Write the need if that helps. Use a small paper. Fold it once. Place it by the lamp. The paper becomes a quiet promise. It is a small ritual of entrusting. Rituals train the body to trust the unseen. There is also a practice for praying together. If another person is near, sit facing each other. Hold nothing more than the intention to listen. One person names a single need in no more than a breath. The other prays silently, or in a single short sentence. If words come, keep the sentences brief. Let the silence that follows be long. The silence is a kind of prayer too. When illness presses, prayer can be a steady companion. It does not replace care. It moves alongside medicines, rest, and wise help. It eases the night for both patient and friend. A calm voice by the bedside steadies the breath. A truthful admission of fear calls forth compassion. Healing often begins at the edge where honesty meets care. Prayers for repair between people work in modest, true ways. They shift small patterns. A prayer gives courage to say sorry. A prayer gives patience to listen longer. Over time, these small moves make a life different. Restoration arrives in acts of kindness that follow a prayer. Not always before it. The practice of confession also meets our private faults. Forgiving oneself is a quiet prayer. It does not erase wrongs. It says that mistakes will be met with honest change, not with endless self-accusation. Place a hand over the place that tightens when regret speaks. Breathe toward it. Say a single soft phrase in the mind. I will try again tomorrow. Repeat it until the chest eases. Prayer is also a place to bear joy. Do not keep thankfulness as a last resort. Name a small blessing tonight. Speak it before sleep. Gratitude is part of the same habit. It keeps the heart from closing into fear. The pairing of petition and thanks steadies the soul. I have seen small miracles of restoring in ordinary lives. Not fireworks or great announcements. Quiet returns of speech between people once estranged. Small recoveries of appetite and sleep after nights of worry. A neighbor's limp, easing enough to walk to the post office. These are gentle proofs that prayer and mercy often travel together. When praying for one another, do not aim for theological precision. Aim for honesty. Aim for mercy. Aim for persistence. The simplest prayers are the most faithful ones. They are short. They are true. They invite a presence that knows names and counts breaths. If you are not used to praying aloud, begin in silence. Offer your need to the larger care in a thought. Keep the sentence short. Let it be a breath long. Then listen. The response may come as calm. It may come as a memory of help. It may simply be a lightening in the shoulders. Let that small change be enough tonight. The act of admitting weakness to another person is brave. It is a trust. Choose someone steady. Choose someone who listens without scoring. A friend. A neighbor. A shepherd of the flock. Someone safe. Speak the need. Ask for prayer. Then sit quietly as the prayer is offered. The imploring voice is a doorway through which healing steps. Leaning into regular prayer reshapes the night. It smooths the edges of rushed thoughts. It forms a muscle of trust. Each small session trains the hands to lay down, again and again, what cannot be carried alone. The repetition does not numb the heart. It makes the heart more open to mercy. If sleep does not come after an hour of practice, return to a short prayer of handing over. Repeat a tiny line until the breath aligns with the phrase. Let the repetition be a lullaby. The living presence that answers is not a loud power. It is a steady companion who keeps time with the breath. There is a gentle discipline in confession and prayer. It asks for truth and for the humility to ask for help. but it also gives back hope. The hope is not a promise that trouble will vanish. It is a promise that the trouble will not define the end. A healed place may be scarred. Restoration often shows in function and in renewed patterns of kindness. Before I close the book tonight, I guide a very short practice with you. Place a hand over the heart. Breathe in 4 slow counts. Hold 1. Breathe out 6. Name one need in a single breath. Then name one thing to be grateful for. In the next breath, say both in silence. Fold the need into a small image and set it beside the lamp. Let the gratitude warm the palm. If someone shared a burden with you tonight, hold that person in a brief prayer. Ask for steadiness and a clear path for their next step. Keep the prayer short. Pray again tomorrow. Consistency matters more than eloquence. I lay the book across my knees. The lamp makes its small circle. The night listens. Prayer is a work of small, steady hands. It moves gently. It changes hearts slowly and truly. It brings healing where honesty meets mercy. Rest now into the breathing. Receive the quiet practice you just made. If sleep comes, let it take its time. If wakefulness remains, keep the small folded paper, the hand on the chest, the rhythm of the breath. I will read again tomorrow. For now, let prayer be the soft cushion under the weight you carry. Let mercy meet it there. I set the book on my knees and let the lamp rest close. The page opens where a promise sits. Tonight I speak of a peace that is not like the world's hush. I do this softly. My voice is low and the sentences are small. Jesus offers a peace that holds while storms still blow. It is not the quiet that comes when problems vanish. It is a steadiness that arrives while questions remain. The difference matters. Worldly peace often sounds like an absence. It promises no more noise. The peace I read of tonight is more. It steadies the heart inside the noise. Breathe with me. In for 4. Hold 1. Out for 6. Let the breaths be slow oars in a small boat. Each stroke lets the body move a little further from sharp edges. Each return of the oar feels the rope of the boat settle in the water. The water does not stop moving. The boat grows calmer. Place a hand over the place you notice first. The palm is a small witness. It reminds the chest where to find rest. Feel warmth there. Name one thing that keeps you unsettled. Say it in the mind. Not as accusation. Just give it a short, plain name. Illness. A hard word. A long ache. Keep it simple. Now imagine a harbor at night. Not a loud harbor. A small one with lanterns bending toward the water. Boats are tied there after long days. They rock a little. They do not travel. They are safe. The peace I read of is like that harbor. It does not remove every wave on the sea. It offers a place to tie up and rest the hands. Think of peace as a blanket that is knitted slowly. Each stitch is a small mercy. Each stitch holds. The blanket may not warm every cold at once. It warms the parts it covers. Let that warmth touch the place under your hand. If fear presses, look at it without feeding it. Name it. Then picture placing it in a small box. Close the lid gently. Keep the box near the lamp. You do not send the fear away as if it never happened. You set it down where it cannot crowd the whole room. The peace that stays with you tonight is roomy enough to hold both fear and calm. I read a paraphrase of that familiar promise so it can lean into your chest rather than sting your ears. The promise says, peace will be given in a different way than the world understands. Receive this not as a slogan. Receive it as an act. Let the words fold around the ribcage like a soft sash. Practice a short exchange. Give one worry to the presence you trust. Ask for a breath of peace to take its place. It need not be a long prayer. A sentence in the mind will do. Keep speech brief. Here is this thing. I need steadiness tonight. Offer it, and then remain quiet. The quiet is not empty. It is opening. Notice what steadiness feels like in the body. A slight slackening of the jaw, shoulders that slide a fraction lower, a tongue that rests behind the teeth. These small changes register as answers. They do not prove outcomes. They prove a shift. Trust the small shift more than loud certainties. If sleep comes, let it carry the peace into dreams. If it does not, let the peace sit at the bedside like a quiet companion. Stay with the breath. Use the image of the harbor as a place to return to when the mind roams. Each return is practice. Each practice thins the hard edges. I close the book for a moment and fold my hands. The lamp makes a small circle. The room holds its breath with me. I speak a short blessing aloud. Not loud enough to wake the night. Just to listen. May the peace that is not like the world's calm your ribs. May your mind find a harbor. Let mercy stitch the edges tonight. Now I take one last slow breath with you. In for 4, hold 1, out for 6. Let the breath be an anchor. Feel it steady the boat. Place the lamp so it watches you without glare. Leave space in the silence. The silence here is a careful thing. I turn the page and prepare to close the hour. The reading has moved through many rooms. We have visited shelters, tables, fields, get caves, and long walks. Tonight's stop is the peace that holds when answers are thin. I do not solve. I offer presence. I offer a short route to ease. Before the last sentences, I ask one small thing. Choose one gentle truth to carry into the night. Not a list. One line. Keep it short. Let it fit into a pocket. I suggest words like this. I am held. I am allowed to rest. The phrase rests on the tongue like a small stone. Keep it for the dark hours. When I close the book, I make a deliberate motion. The cover comes down slow. The sound is soft. It marks an ending and a promise. The promise is not dramatic. It is faithful. I will return in another night. The lamp will be here again. The pages will wait. Now I give a short reflection. The night is a place for small recoveries. It is where the soul stitches with slow thread. The work of the day often leaves a lot loose. The night allows slow repair. Peace is the hand that mends. Mercy is the thread. Hope is the warmth that comes from both together. I speak a closing blessing. Hear it as a soft benediction. Not a performance. Let it fall into your chest like a gentle rain. May your heart rest in the steady peace that passes the world's noise. May the quiet courage to sleep find you when you need it. May mercy greet you at the edge of waking. I place my thumb on the margin and breathe with the room. A few lights flick at a distance. The lamp throws its small ring. I fold the cloth I use to mark the page. The motion is tidy and calm. It is an ordinary act with a gentle purpose. If there is sorrow tonight, bring it into the lamp's circle for a moment. Look at it kindly. Give it a name. Then move your hand to your chest and let the rest of the blessing settle. If there is gratitude, let it warm the hands. Tell it one short sentence in the mind, and let the warmth be enough. I will end with a small, steady command that is also an invitation. Be still. Let the breath anchor. Trust the peace that comes not by avoiding trouble, but by holding it differently. Rest with the faith that you are not alone in the dark. I set the book beside the lamp and ease the light down until only a soft glow remains. The room becomes a cradle. The words we shared sit like a soft blanket. I watch you for one small moment. I offer a final word of blessing in silence. Then aloud, sleep in peace. Wake in mercy. Good night. I will return with more pages when the hour comes again. For now, rest. Let the peace I leave with you be steady and close. Let mercy watch over the slow repairs. Let hope breathe beside you. I set the book gently on my knee. The lamp stays low. The room keeps its hush. My voice is softer now. The reading for the night comes to rest. A final invitation waits in the last lines. I invite you to carry the warmth of God's word into your dreams. Imagine the words like kind embers. They glow without heat that hurts. They rest along the ribs. They sit under the eyelids. Let them soften the edges of the day. Breathe with me once more. Slow and even. In for 4. Hold 1. Out for 6. Each breath is small proof that life continues. Let the breath be an anchor as the mind thins. Picture a single verse you heard tonight. Keep it simple. Hold it like a smooth stone in your hand. Do not turn it into a problem. Let it be a little light. Let that light travel with you into sleep. Sense a presence near. It does not crowd. It does not thunder. It comes like warmth from a near window. It is steady and patient. It meets the small tremors of the heart and does not hurry them. Let the presence be a companion as dreams come. If fears rise as you drift, let them come into the circle of the light. Name them. Not to argue, but to be honest. Then set them down as you would set down a small burden at the foot of a bed. The presence you carry will not remove every fear. It will sit with it and make room. Let the images of tonight settle. Maybe a table with bread. Maybe a meadow after rain. Maybe a harbor where boats tie up. Keep only 1 or 2. Think of them as soft pillows for the mind. When dreams press in, return to these pillows and rest there. If a memory aches, do not chase its edges. Bring it into the lamp's glow. Breathe toward it. Feel the warmth ease the tightness around the memory. Allow the night to do its slow work of tending. Leave the fixing for the light of morning. For now, permit mercy to attend the wound. I ask you to place a hand where the heart seems most true. Let the palm be a witness. The touch is small. It anchors the breath. It tells the body that it is safe to soften. Stay here for 3 full breaths. Inhale calm. Exhale tension. Let the rhythm be a gentle tide. Think of the words you have heard as a mantle you can wrap around the shoulders. It is not heavy. It is a soft thing that shapes how the body moves. Wear it into sleep. Let it become the first sensation when the eyelids fall. Let the last thought you carry be a phrase of mercy. If sleep comes, yield to it without apology. Sleep is not flight. It is receiving. It is a gentle opening of the chest where renewal begins. Let the night gather what day leaves loose. Let the small repairs come while the hands rest. If wakefulness lingers, keep the lamp of the passage near. Use the breath and one short line as an anchor. Repeat it slowly. Let it be a soft metronome for the mind. The repeat is not a test. It is a practice. Or team. The mind learns a new cadence. I will name a sentence now that you may use. Keep it short in the mind. Let it be no longer than a breath. Say it slowly and let it soften the jaw. You may try this. I am kept by steady love. Use these words or choose one that rests truer in your chest. The exact sound matters less than the steadiness it creates. Allow dreams to meet the word. Imagine each dream softening under the light of the verse. Do not expect bright visions. Expect small shifts. Perhaps a tight knot loosens. Perhaps a tired ache eases. Perhaps a hard thought finds a seat and stops pacing. Let the dream be a place where care continues. Remember that mercy is a quiet practice. It often arrives not in spectacle but in the slow, ordinary ways. A deep breath repeated nightly. A single phrase held in the mind. A hand laid on the chest. These are the small tools that mercy uses. Trust them enough to rest. If you worry about tomorrow, write one line on a scrap of paper. Fold it small. Place it by the lamp. Promise to open it with daylight. This tiny act passes the duty of fretting into a space where the day can hold it later. The night then keeps its purpose to mend. I invite a short prayer with you now. Speak it in the mind, if speech feels heavy. Keep each sentence brief. Name one need. Name one thanks. Give the need into the care you trust. Offer the thanks and let it warm the chest. End with a hand resting still. The prayer is a handing over that trains the hands and the heart. Sense how the room breathes with you. The lamp makes a small circle. The walls listen. Even the silence seems kind. Now, do not rush these last moments. Let the end of the reading be a slow closing, like a window latched with care against a cool night. When dreams come, let them be touched by the word. Allow the verses to guide the small scenes. If a dream stumbles into fear, imagine the same presence you felt here stepping in. It does not lecture. It steadies. It does the smallest act. It keeps time with the breath. Awaken with gentleness. In the morning, do not demand a neatness from the heart. Look first for renewed mercies. They may be small. a single clear thought, a patience not known the night before, a warmed mood that was brittle when the day began. Notice these changes. Give thanks for them. If the night holds sorrow, let morning be a time to return to mercy. Not to bury the pain in performance. The first light is a good place to continue the work you began tonight. Meet one small task with kindness. Let the day find its own steady steps. Recovery is a series of small returns. I will tuck this book close now. My thumb marks the place. The lamp stays as long as you need its small glow. If sleep comes before the cover is fully closed, that is all right. Sleep is not an interruption. It is the word doing its own quiet reading inside the mind. Remember that the presence you sense is not earned by skill. It is not a reward for right feelings. It simply shows up and keeps company. Let that be justice for the night. You do not have to perform to be held. Rest in the fact of being seen. Hold one small practice close. Before you lie down, choose a single phrase. Keep it under 5 words. Breathe it with every exhale. Let the phrase be the hand that steadies the mind. Repeat it until the eyelids feel heavy. Allow the phrase to be the last sound you follow. If tears come tonight, they are part of the work. Let them be welcome. Tears are honest. They clear channels that worry clogs. Do not be ashamed of them. Let them fall. Let mercy receive them. Then rest. The body knows how to mend when it is allowed to cry, and then to sleep. When morning breaks, look for the small mercies again. They will be there. Sometimes they are only a clearer breath. Sometimes they are a new thought. Sometimes they are the simple courage to rise. Name one mercy aloud. Let that naming be the start of the day's repair. I promise to meet you again with words that are soft and steady. I will bring phrases that anchor and images that hold. This hour closes now. The lamp will be tended and the book will wait. The night will do its slow work. You have done yours by coming and listening. I lay a hand briefly over the page as if blessing what we shared. In that small motion I give a word for sleep. Carry the warmth of the word into your dreams. Sense the presence that keeps pace with each breath. Bask in the serenity of love that does not demand. Awaken to renewed mercies. Amen.